I am called Dao Huey, for that is my given name. My title is also Dao Huey, meaning saber heart. It means that I will always carry the blade. My parents gave me this name because I was born embracing a divine saber. I trained with the blade at 1 year old and had some accomplishments at 8. I began to test my Dao at 15 and was able to become a god at 30. Despite that, I was already referred to as the saber god when I was 10. I didn't truly become one, of course, till I was 30. In this world, people have always claimed to be saber god, but in my eyes, they were all just kids playing with their toy sabers. The saber is my weapon as well as my best friend. Most importantly, it is my life. Even though I was more than 300 years old after becoming immortal emperor, but this was not my proudest achievement compared to becoming the saber god. It was my lifelong pursuit. Immortal emperor was only something I obtained after entering the Tao with my saber. The world says that an immortal emperor was the apex of the grand Tao, but in my eyes, the Tao of the saber is limitless. It has its own life, prettier than any beauties in this world. Even though I was also known as the wife of the most beautiful woman in the 9 worlds, I am still not as pretty as the blade in my hand. My life, if I could solve something with one slash, a second one would never need to come out. But I don't know why the inhabitants of this world only remember me as an immortal emperor but not my invincible saber Tao. Perhaps it is because I came from the 1000 Emperor's Gate as its second emperor. People recorded my royal achievement but not my unstoppable Tao. I am immortal Emperor Dao Huey, born with the blade. With it in my hands, I have nothing to fear in this world. I would even fight against the venerable immortal emperor How High as long as my blade is by my side. But my blade was taken away by my wife tonight. This is why I'm here chatting with everyone. Oh, I also forgot something important. This immortal emperor, no, this saber god is the second prettiest beauty in the 9 worlds, but the truth is that I still think I'm prettier than my number 1 wife. Haha, I am just kidding. How could a pretty and gifted female immortal emperor like me have a wife? But I do have one bastard instead. Yes, it is that bastard who is always hiding. One day I will deal with him. The moon is quite round tonight. I wonder if that bastard is pretending to be a little girl again, a little swindling girl who says, "Hey, you and I are connected by fate." Chapter 1, 3 Demon Master 1. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. A young shepherd's sheep made noises that echoed across the normally tranquil mountain range. Li Chi crawled on top of the cliff whilst the cold night breeze blew heavily. However, at this moment perspiration drowned his body. At 13 years of age, a little boy like Li Chi was using all of his might to climb the mountain range. This scene in the night sky exuded a macabre sensation for any spectators that were around to witness it. Although the night was quiet, his mind was tormented by a fire of uncertainty. Heralding from a poor family, his parents were both peasants. At the age of 7, he started his life as a shepherd. He took the family name Li. His name was Li Chi because he cried for 7 days and 7 nights after birth. 1. Today, he was performing his daily task. However, during the evening dawn's approach, he noticed that he was missing his leading sheep. Filled with worries, he rushed back to the mountain range to search for it. After what was seemingly comparable to scouring the entire mountain range, he still could not find even a shadow of the sheep. Thinking about the missing sheep and its evil owner, Zhang Dehu, Li Chi feared for the worst in his heart. Suddenly, Li Chi thought of one place. There was only one place that he didn't search: the Heaven Demon Grotto. As he looked toward the Heaven Demon Grotto in front of him, the mountain range in the dark night resembled a fierce beast from the ancient desolate era, with its mouth gaping, hungering for human flesh. Hearing the wolves' howls reverberating from side to side, he couldn't help but shiver in fear. The Heaven Demon Grotto was considered a cursed place in the surrounding area. Legend has it that an evil demon exists there who instantly consumed any trespasser. No one had ever made it out of the cave alive. At this moment, the sounds of Zhang Dehu's whips reverberated in Li Chi's ears. If he truly lost the sheep, then Zhang Dehu would definitely whip his flesh into tatters. Having reached this point, Li Chi grinded his teeth and approached the cave as his body disappeared in the night. Area! The night screeched sadly along with the young boy's scream. Li Chi's horrified voice once again rang. You, what is your intention? Ah. Suddenly the terrible screams came to an end. An unknown amount of time later, at the depths of the Heaven Demon Grotto, the silence was broken with a menacing voice. Good, my immortal dark crow has finally been completed. Only a soul was missing. Today I will coincidentally borrow your soul for a little bit. Pietwush. A moment later, as each flap rung loudly, a strange, dark crow flew away from the Heaven Demon Grotto. Fly, I will use your soul to find all the forbidden burials. Fly across all the land. As long as the 9 worlds exist, I will find you again. From the depths of the heaven demon grotto, the heavy voice once again lingered in the air. From then on, between this heaven and earth, a dark crow flew across the plains. From heavenly cities to the most dangerous edges and secret places, it flew without free will, straight through the 9 worlds for eras without end. As time passed, millions of years had come and gone, a new peerless master rose up as another fell. Slowly, the crow would appear again. It wanted to escape its master, it wanted to find a purpose to its life. From the medicine god to the immortal Emperor Sky, immortal Emperor Sanguine, immortal Emperor Min Ren to immortal Emperor Tunri and immortal Emperor Bing Yu, all the way up until the Black Dragon King. Behind each of these paragons lied the shadow of a crow, one that struggled to find freedom. As these strongest beings came and went, the crow still mysteriously appeared in the river of time. The crow was not willing to have his fate controlled, it wanted to oppose the most frightening character in this world. Billions of years till now, and the changing of era from era. Li Qi, who was floating in the river, was suddenly dragged up by a person. Yay! As he was being dragged out, Li Qi suddenly woke up. His first reaction was jumping up as he was unfamiliar with his own body. He was unstable and almost fell down to the ground again. My body. Looking down and seeing that his body had stayed the same, Li Qi was both ecstatic and scared. Even after the thousands of struggles while fighting against the unending waves and winds, the dark crow, Li Qi, still couldn't contain his emotions after regaining his own body. Taking a deep breath, he lifted his head and saw an old man in front of him. Haha, it is this old man that has saved you from your impending doom. The old man laughed loudly in an inglorious manner, revealing his 3 remaining yellow teeth. This made others to feel that his smile was very lowly. Upstream, Li Qi could still see the dimming structure of the heaven demon grotto. His eyes became increasingly cold, his aura exceeds anything that a 13-year-old child could produce. Li Qi took a deep breath and then stared at the old man. After a while he finally asked, "How should I address you, old man?" "Cleansing incense ancient sect Sanguyi." The old man answered with his mouth agape, revealing his 3 gold teeth, smiling and spitting everywhere. "Cleansing incense ancient sect." Li Qi whispered under his breath. This name reminded him of the sealed memories in his head, the time when he was still imprisoned in the body of the dark crow. "Right now, who has the heaven's will?" Li Qi regained his composure and asked the man. "Heaven's will, eh? Right now in this era, no one has been able to carry the heaven's will." The old man was still smiling as he answered. "Where is immortal Emperor Ta Kong?" After hearing his answer, Li Qi's complexion darkened. How long has he been asleep for? Over 100,000 years. Immortal Emperor Ta Kong has been missing for 30,000 years. What about Black Dragon King of the Heaven Protector Palace? Li Qi inquired about the old man once again. No one knows, the Black Dragon King went missing at the same time as well. Sanguyi shook his head. Hearing this, Li Qi crazily changed his expression. He looked back at the heaven demon grotto again and finally knew why he had regained his body. "Let us go." Wearing a sad expression, Li Qi turned around and started to walk away and didn't care whether Sanguyi was following him or not. After experiencing near immortality, he knew exactly what he had to do. The Heaven Protector Palace has the strongest lineage of a peerless master in the current times. That era when the Black Dragon King was still alive, no one could match her across the 9 worlds. For 3 generations she was still respected. Even though he has been missing for 30,000 years, the Heaven Protector Palace was still residing arrogantly in this heaven. At this moment, a young boy around the age of 13 and a lowly old man with 3 gold teeth was standing outside of the Heaven Protector Palace. Standing outside the palace's outer city, Li Qi was burning ceremonial money while whispering. "Little Black Dragon, you don't have to worry. This life you have helped me by obtaining my body again. One day I will stomp the evil land to get revenge for you." After the burning was complete, Li Qi stared at the Heaven Protector Palace ahead. The scenes were still the same, but the people were no longer there. Everything had become foreign. He reminisced about the old days, Little Black Dragon, and the memory of them building this city from the ground up through their sheer effort. Unfortunately, after 30,000 years, not many still remembered the dark crow hiding behind the curtain. Let us go back to the cleansing incense ancient sect now. At this time, the old man glanced at Li Qi and told his purpose while revealing his 3 shiny golden teeth. "Let us go." Li Qi calmly nodded his head. No matter how illustrious or mysterious this old man may be, his origin could not surprise Li Qi. He had experienced countless difficulties and his soul was trapped inside the dark crow for millions of years. Era after era he walked together shoulder to shoulder with immortal emperors and made friends with alchemy god. What things could still actually surprise him? As they were leaving, an extremely elegant and beautiful girl stepped out of the palace. She resembled an angel from heaven, a goddess out of this world. The moment she stepped out, she inadvertently saw the fire left over by the ceremonial burning as well as some mysterious symbols left behind. After seeing those symbols, her expression greatly changed. Who was having a ceremony here just now? An old servant nearby immediately went around to look for information and came back with results. The city guard said that there was an old man and a young boy around the age of 13 here just now. They were burning the money. Chase and find them immediately. The girl declared her command. Your Highness is supposed to go to God's mountain right now. The old servant hesitantly whimpered. Find them. The goddess yelled softly, her body disappearing across space to find the two. In the end, she was unable to find them and had to return dejectedly to the palace. The symbols rotated in her head. They had disappeared for a long time. Why was it that they appeared again in the outskirt after 10,000s of years? Are they friends or foes? Your Highness, we couldn't find the people who were burning the gold ceremonial items. An old loyal servant reported. Order everyone to keep in mind that if there was any news about the two people, immediately report back to me. The goddess gravely commanded. Hearing this, the servant was extremely surprised. With the current power of the Heaven Protector Palace and the reputation of their goddess, it was rare that she would carry such a serious expression. Then what about the God's mountain? The servant asked. Cancel it. The goddess exclaimed. I have to read the ancient books that the ancestors have left behind. Something strange is happening. She immediately went to the deepest part of the forbidden grounds in the Heaven Protector Palace. The cleansing incense ancient sect resided in the nation of the Heavenly Jewel Kingdom. It used to be of immortal emperor lineage with a long history. In the beginning of the emperor era, immortal Emperor Min Ren imperiously stood at the peak and created a sect and named it Cleansing Incense. Unfortunately, after millions of years it could not withstand the test of time and its unforgiving nature. The sect was no longer of the immortal emperor ranking that could rules the land like in the old age. No matter how hard it tries, it could not rekindle the ancient glory nor stop its unrelentingly slow demise. Elder not good, immortal said he wants us to accept him as the prime disciple. A disciple hurriedly reported to the first elder of the Cleansing Incense ancient sect as he was stepping outside. Kick him off the mountain. Without giving a glance, the first elder proclaimed. Why would you even report such a little thing? A mortal wanting to be the prime disciple of our sect? What a joke! A prime disciple is the same as the sect master's protege, one with the highest chance of becoming the future sect master. Of course, when the sect master wasn't present, then the first elder could still personally take care of these matters. But he was recommended by Sangui. The disciple stuttered. Sangui. Raising his eyebrows, the first elder unhappily said. Was he bribed by liquor? Was that why he is recommending this mortal? Sangui used to belong to the sect, but the sect did not want to recognize this member. Although the name sounded very heroic, this name had caused the sect to lose all dignity. Sangui had three good qualities to him. He was very good at spending money, lying and fooling around in the brothels. That was why they called him Sangui too. He had not cultivated any methods to its end, but he did have a very big background within the sect. Rumor has it that he was the bastard child of the last sect master. That was why, when the last sect master died, he asked for the current one to take care of Sangui. There was also another rumor that Sangui was a bastard, but a bastard from the sect master 2 generations ago. But because the previous sect master owed this person a great favor, he had no choice but to accept this blur and unwillingly take care of Sangui. Before the previous sect master passed away, he also asked the current sect master to take care of Sangui. No matter who his father was, the whole sect and its upper echelon had no love for the old man and the unflattering words regarding Sangui's character or care about the rumors in the world. The entire sect, from elders to the lowest disciples, did not welcome this old man without any cultivation. So what if it was Sangui's recommendation, kick him off? The first elder yelled out of annoyance. His morning and good mood was ruined by this event. Bubadi said he has the Cleansing Incense ancient order from Sangui. Disciple stuttered once again out of fear. The Cleansing Incense ancient order. After hearing these words, the first elder's expression darkened. After a quiet contemplation, he quickly ordered. Gather all of the elders and tell the mortal to wait outside of the grand chamber. The cleansing incense ancient sect has a total of 6 elders. After hearing the 4 words cleansing incense ancient order, the other 5 quickly came to the meeting. The original patriarch of the sect was immortal Emperor Min Ren, who left behind 3 orders. 2 have been recalled to the sect, but the third one had fallen into the hands of Sangui Yi. Outside of the request from the last sect master to take care of Sangui Yi, the second reason why the elders were helpless against Sangui Yi was because he possessed the last order. The order represented immortal Emperor Min Ren. The holder could request anything from the cleansing incense ancient sect. Sitting in the grand chamber of the cleansing incense ancient sect while staring at the elusive statue covered by a golden smoke, Li Qi couldn't help but recall many stories from the past. The statue of immortal Emperor Min Ren stood strong at the tallest point. Although many years had passed, the statue still carried an ancient aura, seemingly capable of piercing the 9 skies. Spectators couldn't help but worship the mere sight. It was as if the emperor was still in front of them. Li Qi didn't know how to describe his feelings as he was staring at this statue. The emperor was dead, but Li Qi was still alive. He forever will be. Although he had obtained his goal and regained his body, all of his old acquaintances have slowly disappeared into the mist of time. Li Qi remembered when the ancient Ming era was coming to an end and the age of the emperors had started. His soul was still trapped in the body of the Dark Crow at that time. This was currently the era when he temporarily regained his sanity from the control of the Heaven Demon Grotto after an eternity of struggles. When he met immortal Emperor Min Ren for the first time, Min Ren was still a little boy who was in love with martial arts and had no knowledge of grand cultivation. The time between now and when he led immortal Min Ren into the cultivation world was already a few million years. Many generations of experts appeared and disappeared between the mysterious ocean of time. Inadvertently looking at the obsidian-colored wooden stick next to the altar below the statue, Li Qi couldn't help but slightly chuckle at the sight. He couldn't believe that the stick still existed after so many years. He made great use of it in the past to discipline that group of energetic children, including the immortal emperor, until they called for their father and mother. At this moment, the 6 elders from the cleansing incense ancient sect were all gathered. Even though they were old, but their blood energy was still as apparent as the rainbow, with bright lights surrounding their bodies. Even though the cleansing incense ancient sect had declined, but it was still of immortal emperor lineage. If the elders accepted the titles from the heavenly god kingdom, then they would all be named heroes. At this moment, the 6 elders' sharp eyes preyed on Li Qi, intending to unravel his secrets. However, Li Qi remained calm while sitting quietly through the uncomfortable atmosphere. Cleansing incense ancient order. Eventually, the first elder gravely inquired. The order was extremely important because it was an object left behind by the founding immortal emperor. Li Qi slowly opened his palm to reveal the ancient order. He was surprised when Sangui took him to the town below the sect's mountain and then ran off to the brothel. Before leaving, he casually threw the order into Li Qi's hand. It was unbelievable that a person like the old man would have the ancient order. In the past, when Li Qi was trapped inside the Dark Crow and when Min Ren carried the Heaven's Will, he gave the 3 ancient orders to Li Qi. Later, Li Qi gave them to different people. After a million years, Li Qi nostalgically stared at the present order. In the past, he did not need them, but today he had no choice but to utilize its power. 6 elders passed around the order while they carefully examined it to confirm that it was indeed authentic. The truth was, the sect had long wanted to recall the order, but they did not have a way of forcing it from Sangui's hand. He knew that the order was equal to another life. Thus, he held on to it with his dear life. Who would have predicted that it would fall into the hands of a mortal without any reputation? Where is Sangui? The first elder asked coldly. He, in reality, harbored no love for Sangui, a person who could only spend money, lie, and play with women. To him, it did not matter if he was the son of the old sect master. He went to the Kui Hong brothel. Li Qi calmly answered. Shadows loomed over the 6 elders' faces. Even though they didn't like him, but the thought of someone from the honorable sect visiting the most famous and popular brothel within a 1,000-mile radius gave them great shame. And it was not like it was his first time visiting it either. Even though they were angry inside and didn't know how to release it, they could only wish that such a notorious player wasn't a part of the sect. What is your demand? A different elder loudly asked. They didn't know the method he employed in order to obtain the order. However, the truth was that the truth and the order in front of them was definitely not a fake. I heard that the prime disciple position for the sect is still unoccupied. Plus, since Sangui recommends my talents so fervently, I have no choice but to desire this position. Li Qi slowly proclaimed. After hearing his answer, the 6 elders started cursing Sangui. That goddamn bastard, what rights did he have to recommend someone to be the prime disciple of the sect? It was an extremely important position, the sect had to carefully select the person, otherwise the spot would have already been occupied. Don't use the prime disciple position as a joke. One elder spoke with cold intent. I know. Li Qiyi calmly and slowly enunciated his words without fear. But the person carrying the order has the right to demand any request. This is the rule established by the immortal Emperor Min Ren. What if you used an underhanded method to obtain this order? The first elder interjected with a threatening statement. This position wasn't something that could be joked about or given without any thoughts. Li Qiyi replied in a cavalierly manner. I understand the elders fear that I might have used demonic ploys to force the order from the hands of San Gui Yi. However, if you guys do not trust me, you can send people to the Kui Hong brothel for confirmation. The elders cried in pain deep within their hearts every time they heard the word Kui Hong brothel, but they had no choice but to send disciples to confirm the truth. A moment later, a disciple did indeed confirm Li Qiyi's words. He tried his best to leave out information regarding San Gui Yi's current joyful and debaucherous disposition with the girls, or the elders would go crazy. Unwilling as they might be, the elders had to follow the rules given by the patriarch. Even if the cleansing incense ancient sect has fallen, their lineage was still of the immortal emperors, thus they will not dishonor the reputation left behind. Bring the truth mirror. The truth mirror shined on Li Qiyi's body. Any mortal wanting to join a sect for cultivation purposes must be judged by the mirror. It tested the physique, life wheel and fate palace. Within the mirror, Li Qiyi's reflection appeared. It was but a hazy, unstable shadow that could go out at any time. Behind his head appeared an elusive blood halo while the top had a radiating light, however both were extremely feeble. Physique is of a mortal, the life wheel is a mortal's life, the fate palace is also a mortal's destiny. The disciple reported the findings of the truth mirror on Li Qiyi's innate talents and physical condition. Every person had a physique, life wheel and fate palace. The physique directly affected the physical strength, life wheel indicated one's longevity, and the fate palace showed one's innate talent for cultivation. However, Li Qiyi with his mortal physique, mortal life wheel and mortal fate palace had silenced the elders. He was the most average of men, the sect could go outside and grab any commoner from the street with the same characteristics. If you want to be the prime disciple of the cleansing incense ancient sect, at the very least you would need a Xianshan physique, not mentioning king physique, saint physique. Your life wheel also has to be around the same. Your abilities are not fit for this position. First elder directly rejected. I am aware. Li Qiyi didn't want to think too much and casually spoke. But I still want to be the prime disciple. You. After hearing those words, the elders were extremely aggravated. This person is not qualified to be a normal disciple, let alone the prime disciple. This is the most unreasonable of requests. I trust that the descendants of the immortal emperor will not relinquish their words or violate the ancestral rule, bringing shame to the sect and the lineage. Li Qiyi played around with the order in his hand and slowly spoke. If this order were to fall into another's hands, the result would be unimaginable. Hearing this, the expressions of the 6 elders froze. The first elder gazed at him and coldly retorted. Even if such a thing happened, anyone who wants to be the prime disciple of our sect has to be tested on all aspects. This ranges from his origin to his background as well as his innate talents. Otherwise, the sect would not allow an unqualified candidate. That is your problem. Li Qiyi stared at the 6 elders and said, if you think a different sect sent me to steal your immortal emperor's heritage, I would not need to become the prime disciple. By the order of virtue, I can just ask for them, no need to bother becoming the prime disciple. You should know this better than me. If I wanted to harm the sect with the power of this order, it would not be a difficult feat. Li Qiyi's words made the elders glance at each other, even though they were a bit ambivalent, but they didn't entirely trust Li Qiyi. He is not exactly without reason. Elder Cao, one of the 6 elders, slowly responded. If the order keeps on wandering around outside, wouldn't that be a hidden danger to us? We cannot refuse anyone with the order, we might as well accept his request. HMPH, this matter cannot be taken lightly. First elder coldly replied. From the past until now, the prime disciple has always been the head disciple under the sect master. Whether we accept or not, we must ask the sect master's opinion regarding this decision, then make a choice later. Another elder mused the statement. Makes sense, in the end the prime disciple would be the direct disciple of the sect master. The remaining elders agreed. Send a letter to sect master. After the 6 elders debated, the first elder immediately commanded. The letter arrived to sect master Su Yonghuang just for a little bit, but the 6 elders immediately received a reply. And the answer was that the sect master allowed for Li Qiyi to become the prime disciple, causing them to be extremely surprised. Truly unbelievable, the sect master was too rash. First elder read the letter 3 times and confirmed that he didn't misread and angrily yelled. Brother Gu, if the sect master agreed, then why are we still debating? In the end, the prime disciple is still the direct disciple of the sect master, and the choice is in the sect master's hand. Elder Cow persuaded with his words. Sect master was being too rash, Another elder shook his head and sighed. Elder Cow forcefully smiled. So be it, we have no other choice. Ultimately, if we could recover the order, then we would have done a great service to the sect. 3 days later, after honoring the ancestors, you will formally become the prime disciple of our sect. The first elder, while very discontent, still managed to grunt out a response. Li Qiyi was still sitting casually without a trace of surprise. He only chuckled out loud. Me becoming the prime disciple should warrant a weapon or two for my personal safety, right? Seeing his comfortable state under heavy pressure, all of the 6 elders were surprised. In the end, the boy was only 13 years old, but his calm demeanor resembled a tyrant that dominated one sphere, having everything under his control. How could a mortal like him have such a courageous spirit? The first elder glanced at Li Qiyi, shook his head and told him. Although we accepted you as the prime disciple, we can only give you a normal weapon. If you desire a formidable treasure or an immortal emperor merit law, you would have to contribute enough merits to the sect. Li Qiyi smirked. His goal was certainly not an immortal emperor merit law or a peerless technique. His true aim was the black wooden stick lying on the pedestal. Averting his gaze to the stick, Li Qiyi continued. Fine, I want that wooden stick. That wooden stick. The 6 elders' bodies staggered in surprise. The stick was only used for gathering the ashes after a ceremonial burning to honor the ancestors. It had always been there and no one had any interest in it. The elders thought Li Qiyi would ask for treasures using his new status, but he simply wanted a wooden stick. This request was outside of their expectation. Li Qiyi said with ease. Since I am the prime disciple, my position is worthy of respect. The stick belongs to the Grand Chamber, and this is the ancestral Grand Chamber of all of the sect. Its symbolism represents the power of the cleansing incense ancient sect, so it is worthy relative to my current position as the prime disciple. After hearing Li Qiyi's continuous logic, the 6 elders looked around themselves with their eyes wide open. They thought to themselves, this idiotic brat and that goddamn playboy Sanguyi definitely belong together. Just like how an ox seeks another ox, a horse would find another horse. 1. So be it, we shall bestow this stick upon you. The first elder was happy to give this worthless stick to Li Qiyi if it meant that he doesn't have to hear his incessant blabbering anymore. To him, this thing was only a regular wooden stick to move the ashes. Might as well give it to Li Qiyi so he didn't have to listen on to his rambling. Many thanks to the honorable elders. Li Qiyi was eagerly waiting for those words. Before his words finished coming out of his mouth, his hands were already holding the stick. This action in the eyes of the 6 elders was seen as being very naive. Huey Ren, take him to his resting quarter. Finally, an elder became impatient and told a nearby disciple to send Li Qiyi away. Today's events had greatly stressed the 6 elders, a wastrel becoming the prime disciple of the cleansing incense ancient sect. Even if the sect had long gone past its glory days, it was not destitute enough to accept a waste of a human being as the prime disciple. Led by the disciple, Li Qiyi approached a solitary single peak. It was not small. On top of it laid a small villa the size of 36,000 square meters. The villa had been abandoned for a long time, surrounded by weeds and wild plants. Although it is far away from everything, it is still a part of the cleansing incense ancient sect. Opening the door, the disciple immediately said, Junior Desai, no, senior disciple, this place will be your home from now on. He only spoke 2 words but quickly realized his mistake. Based on the time Li Qiyi joined the sect, Li Qiyi was his junior disciple. However, because he was the prime disciple, anyone within the 3rd generation, no matter how young or old, would have to call him senior disciple. Li Qiyi glanced at this wily disciple and looked around, then nodded his head. This peak far away from everything is a good place. Plus it is very fitting with its name, Lonely Peak. The disciple smilingly said. He peeked at Li Qiyi a few times, then finally spoke. You will be the master of this peak in the future. The truth was, according to the rules of the sect, the prime disciple has the right to live in a peak closest to the center. The sect owned many peaks and the prime disciple could choose any peak for himself. But most of the main peaks of the sect were occupied. Moreover, all 6 elders were unhappy with Li Qi, thus he was exiled to this faraway place away from any main peaks. The main peaks located near the center contained thicker world essence than the collateral mountains and inferior peaks. This place will be just fine, Li Qi naturally proclaimed. He was not a petty man regarding such trivial matters. I have brought all the daily necessities to senior disciple earlier. This junior disciple thoroughly handled matters with ease and experience. After taking care of all the items needed for daily activities, he politely said, "If you need anything else, just come to the outer area to find me." "What is your name?" Before the disciple departed, Li Qi casually asked. The disciple was surprised by the sudden question. He did not think highly of Li Qi. His talents were lacking to the point that he would not be accepted as a regular disciple here. In the chamber earlier, the actions of Li Qi caused others to feel that he was stupid. But the current Li Qi, who was calm and natural, made this disciple feel perplexed inside and didn't know whether Li Qi was crazy or thought about everything beforehand. "Senior disciple, this junior disciple's name is Nan Hui Ren. I am a caretaker of the outer court." This disciple quickly regained his wit and answered Li Qi. "My name is Li Qi." Li Qi gently nodded. In the last million years, the ones who knew his true origin and name could be counted on the fingers of one's hands. After Nan Hui Ren's departure, Li Qi did not sit idly by. He began to clean up the yard and tidied up the whole mountain. After completing the task to an acceptable standard, the deserted mountain resembled more of a home. Li Qi did everything in a systematic and neat manner, slow but steady. If any accidental bypassers were to witness his cleaning actions, they would not believe that he was only 13 years old. After the tedious labor, the sky slowly darkened. Li Qi felt tired and hungry. He slowly sat down in front of the villa. Taking in a deep breath, he took out the wooden stick that people used to move the ashes that are now placed by his waist and carefully observed it. His memories slowly came back to him, causing him to have a bitter smile. The world believed that if an immortal emperor succeeded in carrying the heaven's will, they will truly become immortal. However, if that was the case, where were immortal Emperor Min Ren, immortal Emperor Tun Rai, and all the peerless cultivators from each era? Where was their end? Li Qi slowly regained his composure. He removed the dust and ash from the stick. The stick eventually revealed its real form. This was a stick spanning 1 meter. After being doused in fire for thousands of years, it still retained its original form without faults. In the eyes of other people, however, this was only a regular wooden stick without any magical elements. Li Qi whispered as he gently wiped the wooden stick. "Serpent punishing stick." With this wooden stick in his hand, his memories caused an inexplicable emotion. That day, when Min Ren was without the heaven's will, Li Qi, as the master of this future immortal emperor, had taught a group of children that would be the loyal support for Min Ren. Since he wanted to groom them well, he specifically took the serpent punishing stick from the demon forest. Those teenagers that would stomp the 9 worlds under their feet were all victims of this stick. After concluding their training, he left the stick there in the cleansing incense ancient sect, and there it has remained until now. Gripping the stick tightly, Li Qi immersed himself even deeper within his memories. Escaping the Heaven Demon Grotto was successful, and he finally regained his body and soul from the control of the Dark Crow. But time was not merciful. Everyone who used to be his friends and families, such as the alchemy god, immortal Emperor Zhu Zai, immortal Emperor Min Ren, even the illustrious Black Dragon King that survived 3 eras, have all left this world. At the beginning of the desolate era, he was only a young shepherd. In order to find a lost sheep, he went into the grotto and became imprisoned by the Heaven Demon Grotto. He was forced to follow the trajectory envisioned by his master in his crow body from era to era. At that moment, Li Qi was very scared. Unable to resist, he flew without rest across the forbidden burials, traveling across the 9 lands, across the 9 worlds, and in the end, he still had no choice but to return to the Heaven Demon Grotto, too. However, because of this, he had experienced the countless dangers and mysteries of the world. He had trodden through lands that even an unbeatable virtuous paragon would stray from. His willpower, basked by hardships throughout the eras, became unshakable. From then on, he was unwilling to become an immortal slave to the Heaven Demon Grotto. He formulated a grand plan in order to cut off all the immortal spirit seals and formations within his soul. In order to escape the Dark Crow for his own freedom and to regain his body, he continuously led all the geniuses on the road of cultivation. The best of these young ones were able to fight on the peerless road under the sky to obtain the heaven's will. But today, when Li Qiyi had returned to his old body and became a human again, all of his friends have soon left him. Taking his last, deep breath to forget his pain, he has once again strengthened his resolve to destroy all obstacles and penetrate the souls of those in the Heaven Demon Grotto. The news of the new Prime Disciple had spread across the sect. The upper echelons were unhappy, but they could not do anything regarding this matter due to the order. A useless person like Li Qiyi was only lucky, that was all. However, the third generation was extremely riled up. The Prime Disciple would have originally came from one of them. He would have to be the one with the highest contributions as well as passing all of the tests given by the elders. Not only that, he would also be blessed with the sect master's teachings while he has exposure to emperor-level techniques. Ultimately, he will most likely become the sect master in the future as well. In the current situation, no one within the second generation of disciples was chosen. This meant that the Prime Disciple seat would definitely be chosen from the third generation disciples. The ones that rebelled the most were the most gifted disciples with the highest aptitudes and origins. They felt cheated by Li Qiyi, thus, the commotion in the sect was chaotic. A mortal with a mortal physique, mortal life wheel, and mortal fate palace has no right to be the Prime Disciple. Few geniuses angrily declared. He is the biggest disgrace to our sect. Who can blame him for obtaining the cleansing incense ancient order? Even the elders have accepted it. Few of the older geniuses lamented, but they could only accept the situation. HMMPH, he is only the Prime Disciple for now. One without talents and strengths cannot compete for the sect master's seat. Who is to say that the Prime Disciple will be the next sect master for certain? Most arrogant and confident disciples coldly spoke. If he doesn't know right from wrong, I wouldn't mind teaching him a little bit. But even when Li Qiyi really didn't have the qualification to compete for the sect master's seat, all the disciples still felt cheated inside when they have to call a young useless person like Li Qiyi as oldest brother. Isn't the last remaining cleansing incense ancient order in the hand of Sangui Yi? How did it fall into the hand of that little brat? Disciple curiously asked. The fact that Sangui Yi possessed the last order was not a big secret. The sect had always wanted to recover it, but Sangui Yi never agreed. This is why everyone was perplexed about Li Qiyi owning it. I heard that this brat has some wit, I just don't know how he fooled the perverted old man. Another disciple coldly replied. I heard that when the elders ordered people to confirm this matter, Sangui Yi was having fun in the brothel. It could very well be that the brat invited him to play as much as he wants in order to trade for the ancient order. Here this disciple scowled and felt nauseous. So he and that perverted old man was the same type. Hearing this story, the other disciples contemptuously exclaimed. Even though rumors had it that Sangui Yi was a child of a certain sect master, but the entire sect did not welcome such a perverted old man that only knew how to spend money and fooling around. Especially the third generation disciples, they did not respect him even a little bit. If it wasn't for the will of the last sect master, then he would have been kicked out of the sect. If Li Qiyi and Sangui Yi was the same type, then they would find Li Qiyi even more distasteful. But 3 days have not passed and Li Qiyi has not greeted the ancestor. The sect received an invitation from the Nine Saint Demon Gate. What? The Nine Saint Demon Gate wants to test Li Qiyi. After receiving the news, the 6 elders were shocked. One of the elders became increasingly paranoid, lamentably. They've heard the news so quickly, he only became the Prime Disciple recently and they already want to test him. Another elder continued. It seems like they want to escape the promise of the past. A trash like Li Qiyi will never pass the test, that is why they want to force and expedite the issue. We no longer have a choice. First elder reluctantly spoke out. Right now the Nine Saint Demon Gate rules an entire country, we cannot compare to them and thus we cannot negotiate anything differently. His words caused everyone to fall into silence. In the beginning of the Emperor era their sect was invincible, their reputation intoxicated the 9 worlds, their strength ruled an ancient kingdom, all sects submitted to their might. No existence in the entire world could have been a threat to the position of the old cleansing incense ancient sect. However, as time passed, old glories were now gone. They no longer have the power to control a regular country, let alone an ancient kingdom. They lost the privilege of granting titles to their followers such as named hero or royal noble. What do we do now? Another elder asked. All of the elders knew that a mortal like Li Qiyi had no chance of passing the examination from the Nine Saint Demon Gate. Cure a dead horse into a living one, no other choice. Another elder answered. If he somehow succeeds, then we would be in-laws with the Nine Saint Demon Gate. If this was the case, then the Heavenly God Sect and the Heavenly Jewel Kingdom would not dare to look down upon us. Towards such an impossible dream, the 6 elders could only forcefully laugh, but no matter what they still had to try. Li Qiyi was waiting in his villa until the ancestor's ceremony, but Nan Hui Ren was approaching. Senior disciple, the elders call for you in the grand chamber. He quickly approached Li Qiyi. Something major happened. Nan Hui Ren was a bit surprised but did not hide anything. He nodded and said, I will not lie to you, honorable brother, the Nine Saint Demon Gate sent us an invitation. He paused for a second and glanced at Li Qi, then continued on. I heard your fiancé wants to test your abilities. Nine Saint Demon Gate. Li Qi suddenly remembered an old memory when he heard this name. Nan Hui Ren thought Li Qi did not know of this sect, so he quickly explained. Nine Saint Demon Gate is one of the biggest sects in the Grand Middle Territory. They rule over Old Ox Country, having the rights to grant titles. Our two sects used to have an amicable and close relationship together. The original patriarch of Nine Saint used to be named Nine Saint Virtuous Paragon. He was the #1 general under our immortal Emperor Min Ren and followed him to sweep through the 9 worlds. When we were ruling over an ancient kingdom, even the Nine Saint Demon Gate had to pay tribute to us. I have heard of the sect. Li Qi smiled gently. Of course he knew about the sect and he had met Nine Saint Virtuous Paragon as well. During the early time of the Emperor's era, because of Min Ren's Dao Path, Li Qi spent so much time and energy in order to entrap this demonic monster named Nine Saint, forcing him to be Min Ren's fate protector. Where did this fiancé come from? Li Qi asked. Nan Hui Ren answered. From the legends, when our patriarch accepted the heaven's will and became the immortal emperor, Nine Saint Virtuous Paragon had a pact with us. If their prime descendant was a female while ours was a male, then we would become in-laws. Pausing for a moment, he sighed dejectedly. At that time they were climbing high. I think that in the past the old chicken had a female disciple. After listening, Li Qi quietly mumbled once again while remembering his past. However, he had forgotten about it after falling into his deep sleep. It was not a matter of great importance. What did you say, great brother? Nan Hui Ren inquired since he didn't hear it. Nothing, so their prime descendant right now is a woman. It is known that between the two of our sects there has not existed any in-law relationships for a long time. In this era, their prime descendant is indeed a woman. He paused for a second to look at Li Qi's expression. I also hear that their descendant, Li Shuangyan, has an innate king physique. Hearing Nan Hui Ren's story, Li Qi had understood everything. The Nine Saint Demon Gate naturally didn't want to marry a descendant with such aptitude and potential to a disciple in a declining sect. That makes things a little more interesting. Li Qi slightly chuckled. Nan Hui Ren shockingly stared at the calm Li Qi. He felt strange that an ordinary boy at the age of 13 was able to face everything like a royal noble who had been through numerous trials. If it was someone else having heard Nan Hui Ren, they would become anxious and frightened, but Li Qi was entirely opposite and carried on his nonchalant attitude. Has Nan Hui Ren informed you of the current situation? The first elder coldly asked once Li Qi entered the ancestral chamber. Truth be told, the 6 elders definitely did not welcome a wastrel like Li Qi, but because of the current situation they hoped that he was not so useless and that he could luckily pass the trial of the Nine Saint Demon Gate. At this moment, the cleansing incense ancient saint truly need a giant monster such as the Nine Saint Demon Gate to be an in-law, even though the chance of success was extremely small, but they still wanted to try. Honorable elder, I understand completely. Li Qi lightly nodded his head. Good, as long as you can pass the tribulation, we will handsomely reward you. The first elder said with a cold voice, as if to mock Li Qi's calm demeanor. Li Qi elegantly smiled and politely said, I am very willing to go to the trial, but I have 3 conditions. Impudence! One of the elders yelled out. You dare to negotiate in front of the elders. Any other disciple would be afraid of facing the elders' wrath, but Li Qi lightly scoffed. Elders, don't be angry. If I were to actually pass the trials, it would be a great contribution to the sect. The hardworking should be rewarded. No, it should be a given that I would have certain conditions given the dangerous task. Then wait until you have passed the trial, then we can discuss them. This elder was extremely unhappy before Li Qi's attitude, so he roared his response. So be it. First elder nodded his head, then continued. Don't you worry, as long as you pass the trial you are free to select any cultivation methods with the exception of Heaven's Will secret laws and immortal emperor merit laws. I don't think the other elders would have any objections. The 6 elders glanced at each other and contemplated the notion. If he indeed passes the trial, then the elder's suggestion is completely reasonable. The other conditions can wait until after the trial. Li Qi finally smiled. However, there is one condition that I must state beforehand so that there will be ample time for preparation. Once I reach the Yun physique level, I require a medicinal paste of the Saint grade. After hearing Li Qi's request, the faces of all 6 elders became sour. They collectively yelled out at the same time. How greedy can you be? Li Qi pretended to not hear their loud yell and continued to slowly enunciate each word. Elders, the marriage between our 2 sects is a great matter as well as an enormous contribution. An emperor-grade medicinal paste might be precious, but I feel like it is a fair trade. HMMPH, you think a medicinal paste of the Saint grade is so easily obtainable. This elder was unhappy and coldly scowled. The first elder glanced at Li Qiyi and said, "If you are successful, then getting a Saint grade past isn't too outrageous. But right now, we cannot accommodate you because we lack certain integral efficacious medicines for the Saint paste recipe." Looking at the elder's body language, Li Qiyi secretly sighed in disappointment. He was thinking too highly of cleansing incense ancient sect. In the past, its treasure trove was unlimited. It even contained immortal grade paste. Saint paste was trivial in comparison. Fine, I will take one step back. I want the highest grade of king paste. This I can accept, but the condition is that you will still have to be successful. The elders glanced at each other, and finally the first elder conceded. Li Qi smiled at the first elder and said, "Outside of this, before going to the 9 Saint Demon Gate, I have another small request. Not knowing how dangerous it will be, I need to learn some techniques and 1 or 2 defensive weapons." Finally, you are still a bit wily, and taking advantage of this situation for personal gains. Elder Cow angrily spoke. First elder actually sympathized and nodded his head. How about this? In the inner sect there are techniques and weapons. You can pick one thing. What do other elders think? Even though the other elders didn't want to accommodate Li Qiyi, but they still agreed with first elder. They knew the chance of success for Li Qiyi was near zero. Even if they gave him weapon and technique, it wouldn't raise the probability, but more is better than none. At the very least it would raise the chance by a little bit. Elders are way too worried. I wouldn't be so greedy. Li Qiyi naturally knew the thoughts of the elders, and calmly smiled. I heard that we have a technique named invisible dual blades that can be learned in a hurry. I want this technique as well as a pair of blades to accompany it. Would that be acceptable? The elders rolled their eyes from surprise after hearing Li Qiyi. They originally thought that this greedy boy would ask for emperor-level techniques, but he wanted such a normal technique. Invisible dual blades, eh? First elder stroked his beard. Another elder quickly responded. First elder, that is only a martial technique. It is insufficient. In the world of cultivation, even the simplest merit law would outperform any martial arts. That is not a problem. Nanhui Ren, bring the invisible dual blades to his peak and give him the best pair of dual blades. First elder was happy with this simple request. His opinion of Li Qiyi decreased from Li Qiyi's unwise decision. One would think that the sect would want to give all the assistance they could afford to help Li Qiyi, but deep down inside, all the elders knew that no matter what techniques and weapons they give to him, completing the trial would still be impossible. They only aimed to minimize the loss of the sect. Do you have any other requests? Seeing Li Qiyi not being greedy, an elder was satisfied and generously asked. This little one does not need anything else at this moment. Li Qiyi humbly said. Good, go back and prepare. You shall depart in 3 days. After your return, you can complete the ancestral ceremony to ascend to your position. First elder gravely said. Of course, if he could come back alive, that is. The elders had great doubts. The technique and blades were brought to Li Qiyi's peak immediately soon right after he had just returned. He was satisfied with the dual crescent moon blades. The blades' curves occasionally shone with sharpness. However, these were merely of mortal grade and not fit for cultivators. No matter how sharp the edges were, it couldn't compare to magical armaments. After Nanhui Ren left, Li Qiyi slowly read the invisible dual blades technique. Every word and every phrase spoken by him would be replicated in his mind. Back then, when he was still the Dark Crow, even though he had successfully escaped the Heaven Demon Grotto, but his situation was not stabilized. Sometimes he was still affected by the grotto. Whenever he felt like this, he immediately sealed himself and caused his soul to fall into a deep slumber. He had spent many tortuous years in each eras to go into the most dangerous places and had fell in the hands of many masters and had to surpass many tribulations. But because of this, he was able to see many merit laws, even emperor merit laws and immortal methods. Because he was afraid that one day he wouldn't be able to control himself and be summoned back to the Heaven Demon Grotto, so he always removed all of his memories regarding the methods and techniques he had learned, to avoid them falling into the hand of the grotto. However, the medicine god and immortal Emperor Zuzai came up with a mysterious method that allowed Li Qiyi to quickly understand the truths of these sovereign techniques the moment he saw them again. Right now, everything that was pertinent to mastering the invisible dual blades had been recalled. Taking a deep breath and comparing the manual in his head against the written version, he found that the technique was lacking a certain something. This worried him greatly. In reality, it was normal for techniques such as the invisible dual blades to be missing parts. In the end, it was not enough to reach the apex. In the eyes of cultivators, this was only a minor art. After millions of years in the cleansing incense ancient sect, no many people actually learned this technique. Focusing his mind once again, Li Qiyi finally understood the hidden truths behind the technique. He softly smiled. Even though his physique, life wheel, and fate palace were all of mortal grade, his knowledge and willpower were above what all geniuses were capable of. What was even more important was that when he was the Dark Crow, he underwent numerous tortures. There was a time when he was imprisoned for 10,000 years without seeing the sun, so his willpower was extremely fortified. Nothing could ever shake it and no difficulties could ever make him take a step backward. He gently patted the manual. His attempt at mastering the technique had awakened his memory of the past, a secret that no disciple knows in the current era. That year, the young Min Ren used to practice the invisible dual blades technique. Later, when he became an immortal emperor that ruled over the 9 worlds, he reminisced about this technique. He once again cultivated with it, slowly perfecting the normal martial technique. Of course, this normal technique was not comparable to the emperor merit laws that he had created as well, let alone the heavens will secret laws. Min Ren himself did not want his descendants to practice this technique either. Thus, the technique had lied dormant in the library of the sect for millenniums. No one has understood the real illustrious truths behind the technique, molded by an immortal emperor post-ascension. When Li Qi saw Min Ren perfecting the technique, he teased him greatly. Even if this martial technique was cultivated to its apex and capable of slaying royal nobles, no one would want to use it. Normal cultivators can only see the external qualities, thus this martial technique resided in the darkness. Even after being teased by Li Qi, immortal Emperor Min Ren only smiled. It was unexpected that Li Qi actually guessed correctly about the fate of this martial arts. Emptying his mind of unnecessary thoughts, he picked up the dual blades and started to practice. He was extremely strict with himself. He slowly swung each stroke within the manual. Each swing required perfection before moving on. Although he understood the truths behind the technique, his body could not keep up with his orders. He demanded perfection, yet it was hard to reach. But Li Qi was not deterred. He kept on practicing the martial arts. He became more refined after each swing. After one night he had practiced more than 300 times and slowly grasped the profound truth. Slowly, each of his blades became more accurate. He understood that if he wanted to completely decimate the Heaven Demon Grotto, he must increase his efforts by 10-fold, no, hundreds of folds in order to achieve his goal. No one understood the Heaven Demon Grotto better than him in the current era. Within these 3 days, Li Qi still had not left his villa. He imprisoned himself in the inner sanctum to perfect his blades. There were too many uncertainties in life and he must be in top shape in order to combat any disasters. 3 days later, the journey to the 9 Saint Demon Gate had begun. Only Nan Hui Ren and a sect protector with the surname of Mo were coming along. The Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect has a total of 6 elders, 12 protectors and 36 sectional leaders. Today, to visit a grand sect such as the 9 Saint Demon Gate with only 3 people, the highest being a mere protector, there were no words to describe it. Only us 3. Before the departure, Li Qi looked at the shameful members and asked. Protector Mo was very frugal with his words. He was also the master of Nan Hui Ren. After he heard the question, he only glanced at Li Qi without answering him. Opposite of his master, Nan Hui Ren was a playful fellow. He coughed once in shame and opened his mouth. Big brother, all of the elders are in secluded cultivation. They could not make the trip. Li Qi perked his lips and coldly declared. Secluded cultivation? They are only afraid of losing face. In the end, they believe I have no chance of passing the trial. My not passing is a small matter to them, but them being there and losing face would be the big deal, right? Nan Hui Ren couldn't say anything back and shamefully smiled. How could a mortal expect to pass the trial of an emperor-level sect? The elders thought the same. That was why they refused to go, since it would only have one result. Don't worry, honorable brother. Nan Hui Ren kept up his positive attitude. The 9 Saint Demon Gate has kept its distance from us in recent times. That is why the elders didn't want to go and create unnecessary conflict. HMMPH, it is only the 9 Saint Demon Gate, can't reach the apex. One in that era, even if 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon was still alive, they would still have to bow down to the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect. Protector Mo could only ignore Li Qi's arrogance, not bothering to throw out a response. Nan Hui Ren was afraid that Li Qi would say even more outrageous things, so he interrupted. Older brother, this is my master, a protector of the sect. Please take care of me on this trip. Li Qi bowed his head with just the right amount of courtesy and respect, not too forced, yet not too weak. Protector Mo glanced at him once again and said, Let us go now. Protector Mo was one of the older protectors. His cultivation level was above average. However, he does not know how to interact socially with others, thus his position in the sect was quite low relative to the other protectors. Otherwise, he would not be a part of this great expedition. The upper echelons of the sect knew that this trip would become a comedic play and Li Qi was the main character. If the audience was not happy, death might be inevitable, and that is another reason why everyone hid away from the trip. Protector Mo also thought that there would be no positive results coming out of this trip, and that was why his mood has been even more sour than normal. The long trip was filled with silence until they reached the Grand Temple of the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect. The Grand Temple was huge and it could contain 10,000 people. Looking through all of the Grand Middle Territory, it would be difficult to find a comparable temple. Jade-colored temple was extremely ancient. It was built by heavenly stones and crystals. Above were calligraphy carved by immortal Emperor Min Ren. The words exuded a courageous aura deep beyond fathom. Each word and each phrase felt as if it could erase existence itself. From this grand temple one could appreciate the old power of the dying sect. This temple was the starting point for all of the conquests made by the great emperor. Min Ren conducted ceremonies here before conducting his expeditions that would span the whole 9 worlds. Only an immortal emperor sect could possess this temple. Bang! As the entrance was opened, a gateway could be seen standing inside. Colored and tempered by god crystals, the hulk was covered by empty holes and immortal emperor carvings. The empty holes were there to be filled with meteoric crystals. Meteoric crystals are formed by the natural spiritual power of heaven and earth, the very essence of what makes cultivation possible. Its main purpose was to operate gateways in order to traverse far distances. The warping distance was predicated by the quantity and quality of the meteoric crystals. Unfortunately, the current gateway only has a few meteoric crystals inside. Once again, Li Qiyi was saddened by how far the sect had fallen. In the past, this gateway with an abundance of crystals had brought many armies to faraway places in the 9 worlds. They entered the gateway and in the blink of an eye, they warped to a different location. The Grand Middle Territory was huge, spanning billions of miles. There were countless sects spanning across 15 countries, however there were gigantic monsters like kingdoms and ancient kingdoms that spanned billions of miles by themselves. If one wanted to cross a country by flying, unless he was an enlightened being or a heavenly king, it would take many years. Any named hero or royal noble would be wise enough to not attempt this feat. Plus, the Grand Middle Territory was only one part of the Mortal Emperor world. The Mortal Emperor world was also known as the Emperor Boundary or Emperor Country and consisted of 5 different parts. In the north lies the limitless land, the south has the chained earth, the east forms the 100 cities, the west contains the desolate wasteland, and the middle was the Grand Middle Territory. Bang! Li Qiyi and his companions arrived at the gateway of the 9 Saint Demon Gate. As they stepped out, they felt that the natural spirit essence was denser than any place before. As far as the eyes could see, this was truly a heavenly sect. Location of the 9 Saint Demon Gate spanned for millions of miles. It was filled with mountains and rivers, with majestic waterfalls and heavenly saint trees that could pierce the heavens, and with marble palaces floating and hiding in the clouds as far as the eyes could see. At the deepest part, you could see penetrating auras that shone radiantly across the land. One would believe that the origin of those aura lies a shocking heavenly treasure. This was the picture of a powerful sect. With this atmosphere and location, no wonder it could rule over a country. In comparison, the cleansing incense ancient sect was akin to a destitute old man at the end of his life. I see that it is older brother Mo, long time no see. When the 3 of them left the gateway, there was an older man leading his disciples for the welcoming party. The man was a sectional leader of their sect. His last name was Fu. He was the owner of a cold and stoic face. His eyes contained a powerful gaze and his body radiated a shining aura. His natural disposition was one that could cause fear in weaker souls. Even though he was only a sectional leader, he possessed the strength of a named hero that was evident by the aura exuded from his body. In the cleansing incense ancient sect, only an elder would be eligible for the named hero qualification. Is this your prime disciple? That is correct, Li Qiyi is the prime disciple of my sect. Protector Mo smiled bitterly. The body and talents of Li Qiyi was nothing to be proud of. The trial, it is but a friendly competition. Brother Mo does not have to worry about it. Sectional leader Fu showed a gentle smile. Only a trial can't reach the peak, too. Li Qiyi smiled back at sectional leader Fu and elegantly expressed his feelings. Sectional leader Fu ignored Li Qiyi's sly remark and conversed with Protector Mo instead. Brother Mo, please follow me. In his mind, a named hero arguing with a junior like Li Qiyi would be unbecoming for a man of his status. Protector Mo, on the other hand, glared angrily at Li Qiyi. Chapter 7 9 Saint Demon Gate 1. Sectional leader Fu led the 3 into a medium-sized meeting chamber. Such a room was only used for entertaining guests without great importance. For an event as influential as the marriage proposal between the 2 sects, the 9 Saint Demon Gate was letting a mere leader class to do the negotiation. Not only that, they used the courtesy procedure befitting the greeting of normal guests, which showed that they did not place heavy emphasis on the event. After settling the guests into their resting area, sectional leader Fu used flowery language without sincerity and quickly left. Protector Mo was mentally ready for the lack of hospitality, so he was not angry, merely solemn. Sectional leader Fu headed straight into the inner sanctuary of his sect. Approaching an ancient temple, he met an elder. The elder was floating in the air, a heavenly halo surrounded his head. While it rotated non-stop, each strand of the world's truths in physical form was visible to the eyes and covered his body. Nothing was comparable to his pressure. A god was, seemingly, amongst us. How is the prime disciple of the cleansing incense ancient sect? The thunderous voice of this elder struck the surrounding, but this voice that instilled fear into the heart could only be heard within the temple. Sectional leader Fu, when outside, was extremely arrogant with his title of named hero. However, right now he could only quiver in fear. He got down on his knees and spoke. Dear elder, it was but an ant, merely a mortal, an ignorant young brat that is not worthy of a discussion. I see, take your leave. Thunderous voice rung again. Sectional leader Fu politely bowed one more time and carefully left the temple. His body was sweaty after leaving. He was only a sectional leader, he did not have the qualification nor status to meet an elder. Even a royal noble would need to be summoned before they can have the honor. Picking a mortal with a mortal physique, mortal life wheel and mortal fate palace to be the prime disciple, there is no saving the cleansing incense ancient sect. After sectional leader Fu left, the elder started to speak with someone else in the empty temple. It is truly a shame for the emperor techniques of immortal Emperor Min Ren, there is a good chance that they still reside in that sect. Mysterious and noble voice rang through the air. The elder continued. Your Majesty, as long as the techniques remain there, it is only a matter of time until we can obtain them. That mortal is not worthy of our prime descendant. The mysterious voice remained silent, same with the elder. If there were spectators, they would be shocked at the appearance of the Demon King. One has to know that the Demon King was an extremely dangerous character. Legend has it that his origin and true form were extremely formidable. The sect led by him became increasingly radiant, nothing could shake his tyrannical rule. Within Old Ox Country no one dared to oppose his heavenly grasp. Protector Mo was still sitting there silently. Nan Hui Ren had wittingly escaped the torturous room with the uncomfortable atmosphere. Li Qi Yi had left for his own room. He started to practice the invisible dual blades technique instantly, not wasting a second. He wanted the technique ingrained into his body and mind. Over the years, Li Qi Yi had learned that it is one thing to understand the illustrious truths behind a technique, but another to reach the apex, and actually utilizing them was yet another. Even a peerless genius with true knowledge of immortal emperor merit laws could not perform them without an excruciating level of practice. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The two blades left Li Qi Yi's hands and gracefully traversed the air like a pair of butterflies' wings. They intersected each other multiple times and ultimately returned to Li Qi Yi's hands. He had practiced this particular move so many times, but it still contained flaws. What impeccable blade plays, senior disciple is so diligent. I feel ashamed comparing myself to your great efforts. At this second, Nan Hui Ren came into the room. There was another teen next to his side. Nan Hui Ren couldn't help but sigh in regret. He truly respected Li Qi Yi's earnest efforts. It was truly unfortunate that his innate talents were so underwhelming. To reach the apex, one must never stop self-improvement. Li Qi Yi sheathed his blades. Although sweaty and tired, his posture and expression remain at ease. Nan Hui Ren respectfully smiled. I will remember these words and will strive to improve myself as well. Then he started to introduce the young man standing next to him. This is Big Brother Zhang, a good friend of mine. Nan Hui Ren had good talents, but he could not be considered a genius. However, he was different from his master. His social capability made his network wide and he had friends everywhere. This disciple Zhang was very similar, but in his eyes, a mortal like Li Qi Yi was not worthy of respect. He nodded his head toward Li Qi Yi because of his relationship with Nan Hui Ren. To him, whatever martial techniques practiced by Li Qi Yi were meaningless. This is the first time senior disciple visits the Nine Saint Demon Gate. How about we walk around so that you can be accustomed to the scenery? Li Qi Yi suddenly remembered an event, so he smiled and responds. Sure. And Hui Ren turned around to the disciple named Zhang. Brother Zhang, this time we will have to impose upon you. Brother Nan, you are too reserved. Disciple Zhang had no choice but to nod his head. Unwilling as he may be, he did not want to strain their friendship. He had no desire of taking the scenic route with Li Qi Yi. In reality, the Nine Saint Demon Gate was the host. They should be taking Li Qi Yi around in order to positively promote their relationship. However, since they did not consider Li Qi Yi to be worthy, all courtesy and rules were set aside. Fellow Zhang led them around the premise while he only made conversation with Nan Hui Ren. He treated Li Qi Yi like an invisible man. Their presence caused a lot of whispers amongst the disciples. Isn't that the prime disciple of that old sect? In the distance, a disciple frowned from seeing that Li Qi Yi was only a mortal. Another disciple in the sect, with scorn in his expression, laughed. Heh, the cleansing incense ancient sect is only a second-rate establishment and even a mortal can be the prime disciple. This position has become worthless. A mortal wanting to marry Senior Li, rotten chopsticks wanting a gold bowl, why not look into the mirror to see how lowly you are? 1. Li Shuangyan was the prime descendant of the Nine Saint Demon Gate. Not only was she gifted in her talents, but she was also extremely beautiful. Countless young talents in the sect have her as their secret desire. The numerous geniuses from other places that seek to court her could form a line from one edge of the nation to the other. The one thing they all have in common, though, was wanting to spit onto Li Qi's face for being so shameless. Fellow Zhang was even more embarrassed. He could see the hostile eyes from his fellow disciples. He started to walk faster to maintain a distance from Li Qi Yi, eventually leaving him behind. However, Li Qi seemed to pay no mind to his actions. He continued with his own pace in a calm and carefree manner as he absorbed the heavenly scenery of the Nine Saint Demon Gate. Senior disciple, you have to be careful. Many people are courting your fiancé and they will not hesitate to cause trouble for you. And Hyo Ren earnestly reminded Li Qi. It is only a girl, there is no need for such commotion. Li Qi calmly answered, he had seen many country-destroying beauties, thus he does not truly keep his potential fiancé in mind, it was only a minor matter in his head, too. Unknowingly, they reached the training ground of the sect. This was a place where all of the disciples could enter. Once one was inside, they truly felt tiny compared to the gigantic battle stage, like an ant in the middle of a boundless ground. The battle stage consisted of huge meteoric stones. Each stone was encrypted with the words of many virtuous paragons. Mysterious and powerful energy was exerted from them continuously. It was this energy that protected the battle stage, rendering it impervious to any damage by the contestants. A battle stage of the virtuous paragon level. Even though this was not his first time witnessing it, the battle stage still shook Nan Hue Ren's feelings with awe. Elo Zhang was even more proud and started to brag. This battle stage was created by our great elder, it can even withstand the destructive power from multiple virtuous paragons. In the past, our cleansing incense ancient sect also had a battle stage. Nan Hue Ren couldn't help but mumble in a low volume. Truth was, the cleaning incense ancient sect also had a battle stage, but it was not of the virtuous paragon level. Some say that it was nearly immortal emperor level. Additionally, it could withstand a fight between heavenly kings as well as immortal emperors. It was found by immortal Emperor Min Ren in the depths of an unknown space. It was unfortunate that no one knew why this battle stage was sealed completely. From then on, no one was able to enter the arena. Great Four-Stone Golems. Li Qi was there, but he missed the conversation completely. His eyes were focused on the four gigantic statues located at the four ends of the arena. Each of them towered over 100 yards. All of them had different expressions, yet they were all very realistic, carved from the hands of a renowned expert with a blade technique that was very natural and perfect. This is the thing he wanted to see the most. After the death of Nine Saint Virtuous Paragon, he had never visited this sect. It was surprising to see the four statues after all these years. When Nan Hue Ren and fellow Zhang were chatting, no one noticed Li Qi. A moment later, fellow Zhang finally saw Li Qi's current action. He raised his eyebrows and asked, "What is this idiot doing?" Nan Hue Ren saw that Li Qi was trying to climb on top of the eastern statue. However, because of his weak cultivation level, he couldn't make it to the top. Right now, there were many students surrounding the battle stage. They watched him struggle like a village boy that visited the capital for the first time. Laughter erupted and jeers filled the arena. Nan Hue Ren was so embarrassed that he wanted to dig a hole and hide in it forever. He could not see what was special about these four statues that was driving Li Qi's action. Li Qi signaled for Nan Hue Ren to come over. He cannot say no to the prime disciple, especially when the person is being singled out by an entire sect. He dejectedly walked over to Li Qi under the scrutinizing gazes of all the disciples. "The statue is too high, take me up there," Li Qi calmly commanded. "I..." Nan Hue Ren shouted, then became silent. He was silently questioning whether Li Qi had become insane. Climbing up the statue in front of all of the 9 Saint Demon Gate disciples, this was a great slap to their faces. "Are you going to take me up, or do you want to continue watching my monkey show?" Li Qi nonchalantly commented. It was as if all of this had nothing to do with him. Without any other options, Nan Hue Ren grabbed Li Qi and jumped in one swoop to the top of the statue. Li Qi sat on the shoulder of the statue. He stared into the far distance leisurely and absorbed the heavens in front of his eyes. Nan Hue Ren wasn't quite as thick as Li Qi. He immediately jumped down, then waited at the bottom of the statue. He stood there waiting in case something did happen. He simply couldn't just abandon his fellow disciple. Fellow Zhang, however, did not want to stand there for a second longer. He immediately left without a departing salutation. Does he think that he is a big shot, sitting on top of the statue? This country bumpkin is way too rude. Ignoring the comments spewed by the disciples of the 9 Saint Demon Gate, Li Qi remained sitting on the statue's shoulder. He whispered to it as if he was having a conversation with it. The crazy, nonsensical actions of Li Qi caused the spectators to question his and their own sanity. This was truly an idiot without fear. No one attempted to stop him, however. They felt that it was below them to interfere with a madman's muse. Eventually, Li Qi seemed to have become bored of sitting. He once again waved his hands to signal Nan Hue Ren. Like a boulder that had been lifted off his shoulder, Nan Hue Ren was so relieved that this madness had come to an end, and he brought Li Qi down to the floor. "Dear senior, the sun has set, shall we go back and rest?" Nan Hue Ren was praying with all of his heart that this prime disciple could spare him from further embarrassment. Who knew what other things he would do if the trip was to be continued? Seeing the poor facial expression of Nan Hui Ren that was like a dead puppy, Li Qiyi chuckled and nodded his head in agreement. Your mother. Disciple couldn't help but yell out after seeing Li Qiyi's devilish grin. The cleansing incense ancient sect is a third-rate sect. A toad wants to eat the meat of a swan, I spit, a black dumb turtle has the nerves to court our senior. 1. Seeing that someone was challenging him directly, Li Qiyi slowly turned around and said, Court your senior, don't think too highly of yourselves. Even if either a heavenly angel or godly fairies wanted to marry me, they would have to pray for my acceptance. Your senior, it is a long line until it is her turn. Your mother, you're tiring of living. All of the male disciples were having an uproar after hearing those shameless words. Calm down, everyone should value peace and prosperity. The current situation chilled Nan Hui Ren down to his spine. He immediately took Li Qiyi and left. He could not leave this crazy guy outside for a second longer. After reaching their guest house safely, Nan Hui Ren cried, Honorable Senior, please, this isn't a place where we can say and do whatever we wish. Take a step back and appreciate the high sky and deep sea. Please keep yourself under control. Hold back, Li Qiyi nonchalantly proclaimed. A general shall stop an incoming army, a dam will deter the incoming current. 2. Nan Hui Ren froze. Taking care of someone like Li Qiyi was akin to finding trouble for oneself. He was truly regretting taking this mission to go to the 9 Saint Demon Gate. After the events at the battle stage, many of the 9 Heaven Demon Gate disciples were outraged. Du Yuanguang was one of those who truly wanted to kill Li Qiyi. He was an outer disciple, but his innate talents were above average, thus many referred to him as the little genius. He had only joined the sect for 5 years, but he already reached the pinnacle stage of Provisional Palace. As long as he could successfully pass this year's examination, he could become an inner disciple. Du Yuanguang had a strong crush for Li Shuangyan. During his entrance examination to the sect, she was one of the main organizers. When he saw her for the first time, he was smitten. He also thought that she recognized his skills and talents since she accepted him. He had great confidence in his ability and wished for her to become his Dao partner. Li Qiyi being there naturally became a thorn in his eyes. This mortal does not know his own limits. If I don't teach him a little lesson, he would continue to think he is above the heaven and earth. Du Yuanguang's eyes revealed his killing intent as he screamed out loud. The next day, Li Qiyi woke up and immediately asked if Nan Hui Ren wanted to go on another sightseeing trip. He wanted to see if there was anything left from his era that were still around. Nan Hui Ren did not want to go at all. It didn't matter whether Li Qiyi was crazy or stupid, his intuition told him that Li Qiyi would definitely cause trouble. Going with him was simply masochistic. Unfortunately, Li Qiyi already turned around and started to go on his trip. Nan Hui Ren had no choice but to follow him. The most important task during this trip was the marriage trial. If something actually happened to Li Qiyi, he wouldn't be able to escape unscathed. However, not long after their departure, they were surrounded by Du Yuanguang and his outer disciple friends. These disciples didn't see eye to eye with Li Qiyi. With Du Yuanguang leading the mantle, it was a wondrous opportunity to teach this arrogant bastard a lesson. Ah, it is Brother Du, I have heard of your great reputation for a long time now. Nan Hui Ren knew that trouble was coming, but he still kept his calm and friendliness. Du Yuanguang only gave Nan Hui Ren a short glance and said, Nan Hui Ren, you don't have any business here, move to the side or we'll deal with you as well. Nan Hui Ren's expression darkened, but he knew that the strong eats the weak. Thus he bowed slightly and asked, Brother Du, what is the meaning of this? Du Yuanguang completely ignored Nan Hui Ren this time around. He sent an icy cold glare toward Li Qiyi that was filled with killing intent. Li Qiyi, elegant and poised as always, stepped up toward Du Yuanguang and said, A smart dog does not block the road. If you don't want to be a dog, then get out of the way. After he heard this, Nan Hui Ren knew that everything was ruined. Especially when he saw the thirst for blood in Du Yuanguang's eyes, he knew this would not end without incident. The angry disciple yelled out, Do you not want to live? The cleansing incense ancient sect no longer has the qualifications to be considered an immortal emperor lineage. You dare to jump around like a clown in front of us, a mere ant dares to be disrespectful. Li Qiyi was ready to retort, but Nan Hui Ren quickly stopped him and whispered, Forget about it, senior brother, don't worry about them. Du Yuanguang is an outer disciple that is getting a lot of attention. He is also the last disciple of Protector Hua. If he passes the yearly examination, he would immediately become an inner disciple. Nan Hui Ren's intention was to remind Li Qiyi that they could not afford to antagonize someone like Du Yuanguang. He had the support of a protector from the 9 Saint Demon Gate. A protector position in this sect has a higher standing than an elder position in the cleansing incense ancient sect. Du Yuanguang did not make a move, he only coldly said, We, the 9 Saint Demon Gate, rule over Old Ox Country. Even if you are from a small sect, you are still a guest. We would still like to treat you with the required courtesy befitting of our status. However, recently one of my brothers has lost a treasure. This is not a common occurrence in our honorable sect. Then Huey Ren's complexion became gray. He panicked. Brother Du, what is the meaning of your words? Du Yuan Guang glanced over to Li Qiyi and said, in the last 2 days there were no other guests beside the people from your sect. Du Yuan Guang clearly implied that the thief was from the cleansing incense ancient sect. This matter did not only affect one person because it also greatly influences the reputation of an entire sect. Even someone as wily as Nan Huey Ren couldn't help but show an ugly expression. Brother Du, please watch what you say. Nan Huey Ren wanted to treat this matter diplomatically, but it now concerned the reputation of his own sect. He would not stand for such an insult. Watch what I say. Your sect is desolate and poor like a beggar. Who could guarantee that a thief had not infiltrated your sect? Your prime disciple is just a piece of trash. To say that your sect recruited thieves would not be unreasonable. Nan Huey Ren's face became red with anger. As a person who truly cared for his sect, he could not stand for this mockery. Brother Du, we want to meet with sectional leader Fu of your sect. No matter what happens, we demand an answer from your sect regarding this baseless accusation. Du Yuan Guang exploded in laughter for 10 seconds, then confidently replied. Eat sectional leader Fu. Nanhui Ren, it is not like I don't want to reserve some dignity for you, but you and this trash alone do not have the qualification to invoke a meeting with sectional leader Fu. Our sectional leaders are capable enough to obtain the title of named hero. It is unknown whether your elders are capable of the same task. Maybe your elders are qualified to meet with sectional leader Fu, but you and that trash don't even think about it. After he finished his speech, Du Yuan Guang stared coldly at Li Qiyi. The other disciples clapped in agreement and started to once again taunt Li Qiyi with nasty words. Nan Huey Ren was shaking with rage, but Li Qiyi still maintained his composure and carefully retorted. Though this whole incident is your planning, the leader, or even your protector, it does not matter to me. Little Du, simply put, it is because you are smit with your senior. I think her name was Li Shuangyan. Even though I have never seen her before, you guys are too petty. Your prime descendant Li Shuangyan and her engagement with me is merely a one-sided affair. Because I respect your sect's current status, I would consider having her as a maid. And as for you, Li Qiyi continued. You are so naive. If your goddess has such talents, she wouldn't have you in her eyes. I already don't care for her. Why would you try to compete with me for her like a fool? Get out of the way. You should find a place with a nice spot of shade and take a break to cool off your hot head. You bastard, if you want to die so much, then I'll show you to your death. Du Yuan Guang, enraged by those words, summoned his sword as well as his aura. Du Yuan Guang, if you want to fight, I will reciprocate. Having witnessed Li Qiyi's bravery, Nan Huey Ren, who was burning with rage, felt a lot better. However, he knew that Li Qiyi had never cultivated before, so he immediately stood guard in front of him. Fine, I will take care of you first, then I'll kill the little bastard. Fiery anger exploded from his eyes. To him, Li Shuangyan was an untouchable goddess, yet Li Qiyi dared to insult her. Li Qiyi slowly pushed Nan Huey Ren back, and he calmly said, Hey Huey Ren, if someone wants to take my life, then I'll be the one to put an end to him. You should stand back and watch. Good, excellent. Du Yuan Guang was no longer angry but bursting out in laughter. This is the funniest thing I have ever heard. A piece of trash like you wants to kill someone who is at the provisional palace stage like me? So be it, I will give you a chance to fight. Knowing that he was immortal, they knew he could not use any merit laws. The other disciples pitied Li Qiyi. Martial techniques versus merit laws, you don't even know the basics, yet your arrogance is through the sky. It is such a pity. Li Qiyi could not be bothered by those comments. He exclaimed. That is fine, everyone can witness this battle. He walked towards the battle stage. Yuka. Nan Huey Ren was filled with fear. He grabbed Li Qiyi and said, Senior, this is impossible. Du Yuan Guang has reached the pinnacle of the provisional palace stage. You cannot be his match. It is fine. He is only at provisional palace and not at royal noble. However, even if a royal noble in the 9 Saint Demon Gate dares to mess with me, depending on my mood, I would mince him into tiny pieces too. Li Qiyi smirked lightly, then pushed Nan Huey Ren away. Nan Huey Ren's head started to hurt. His first thought was that his senior had become senile. Li Qiyi had only joined the sect for a few days. He has not begun to practice even the most basic of cultivation techniques. He only had access to the invisible dual blades martial technique. A person who only practiced martial arts could not fight against a cultivator. Martial techniques, when compared to a merit law, was like heaven and earth, not to mention Du Yuan Guang was also an expert in the provisional palace stage. Nan Huey Ren regained his reasoning and he immediately went to find his master, Protector Mo. He knew, if this fight happened, only death would be the result. The news about Li Qiyi and Du Yuan Guang's fight was intentionally spread by the disciples of the 9 Saint Demon Gate. Word of this quickly traveled through the whole sect. Du Yuan Guang possessed considerable influence and popularity within the sect for reaching Provision Palace stage in 5 years after he was admitted. Here, he was considered a genius. At the current Cleansing Incense Ancient sect, he would be a genius amongst geniuses. Even the seniors who heard about this challenge were surprised. Challenging Du Yuan Guang. He is the inheriting disciple of Protector Hua. Even though his golden wolf physique has only reached Haoshan, it is still a formidable type. What is the current cultivation level of the prime disciple of Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect? Some of the disciples who had never heard of Li Qiyi were quite intrigued. Senior Sheng worries too much. That sect is average at best and without any experts. Their prime disciple is a piece of trash, mortal physique, mortal life wheel and mortal fate palace. He had only joined the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect for 2 days. He had only practiced martial techniques. Even the most elementary merit laws eluded him. Disciple mockingly answered. After hearing this news, the seniors who didn't know Li Qiyi before became even more perplexed. A martial artist challenging a cultivator, he must be tired of living. This is just like the young deer that's not scared of a tiger. How sad. 1. A lot of the seniors lost their interest because they believed the fight would end after a single move. Du Yuan Guang only needed one swing and everything would be finished. This news also reached the ears of a few sectional leaders and protectors. They shook their heads while they contemplated about the implications. One of the protectors spoke up in an aloof and cold manner. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Killing one trash isn't something to be proud about. However, if the idiotic Cleansing Incense Ancient Sects juniors wish to challenge us, let this be a lesson. This comment caused some protectors and sectional leaders to knit their eyebrows. It was still an immortal emperor sect after all. Currently, it still had emperor-level cultivation methods and more importantly the inheritance of the immortal Emperor Min Ren. Everyone has been watching that sect like a hungry tiger, waiting for the right moment to strike. Realistically, the 9 Saint Demon Gate only had to mobilize their protectors in order to rob the Emperor merit laws, but the current Demon King had never revealed his thoughts about the topic. This caused the upper echelons to remain silent as well. If only the Demon King would give the order, someone would immediately travel and destroy the sect right away, with zero hesitation. While the upper echelons were still pondering, Li Qiyi was standing on top of the battle stage. There was quite a crowd gathered for this event. They just wanted to see what kind of torture methods would be employed by Du Yuan Guang. When Du Yuan Guang stepped onto the battle stage, a disciple loudly yelled. Senior Du, use one sword swing to chop off his head. Another chimed in. One sword strike is too merciful towards him. He dared to insult Senior Li and our sect. You have to flay him piece by piece. Senior opened his mouth. Death is the only result for insulting our sect. Junior Du, do not rush, slice off his hands and feet but do not kill him. Wait for the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect to come and apologize for him. Let the whole Grand Middle Territory know, even the whole mortal Emperor world know the consequences of opposing us. On the battle stage, Li Qiyi stared at Du Yuan Guang and teased. The 9 Saint Demon Gates disciples can only use words. You guys are indeed experts at using your mouths. Idiotic animal, I only need one sword strike to remove your head from your body. Cold as ice, Du Yuan Guang lifted his chin and looked down on his opponent. If you want to fight then fight, so much time wasted. Li Qiyi casually responded. His left hand gripped his blade tightly. He lifted it horizontally and pointed the edge towards Du Yuan Guang and proclaimed. Make your move. Dai. Infuriated by Li Qiyi's fearless attitude, Du Yuan Guang made his move. A sword strike that felt like it could destroy the surrounding space lashed out. It was as fast as lightning. The energy aura sharply leapt towards the heart of Li Qiyi, which was accompanied by the endless anger of Du Yuan Guang. Li Qiyi did not take a step back, he instead moved forward. With each step he took the blade in his left hand and moved like a heavenly serpent. It quickly deflected the sword technique to the side. A sharp noise indicating successful contact with the flesh filled the arena. Du Yuan Guang's sword, although it did not hit Li Qiyi's heart, had pierced his left shoulder. Insect. Du Yuan Guang smirked until he saw that, as his sword was still in Li Qiyi's left shoulder, his opponent's right hand started moving. In the blink of an eye, even Du Yuan Guang did not see the movement of Li Qiyi's blade. Goody. The blade strike was too swift. It invoked mysterious truths that nothing else could compare to. No one saw the trajectory of the move. The 9 Saint Demon Gates disciples were cheering loudly when they saw Du Yuan Guang's sword connect. However, the same second when the sword met the left shoulder, Nan Hui Ren and Protector Mo finally arrived. Protector Mo saw the sword's connection and yelled out. Please lower your sword and spare him. 1 second later, blood dripped down from the throat of Du Yuan Guang. Then all of a sudden it splurted out as his body slowly fell to the ground. Mercilessly, Li Qiyi had thrown both of his blades using the invisible dual blades technique. Feb. Du Yuan Guang's body was crossed by the path of the two blades as they magically intersected each other, dividing his body into 5 pieces before it hit the ground completely. Blood filled the arena. Du Yuan Guang's eyes flashed hints of bewilderment and regrets. He did not understand how he had fallen. How would he know that the technique of Li Qiyi was honed by immortal Emperor Min Ren himself? Although it could not compare to emperor-level merit laws, a martial technique sharpened by an immortal emperor could not be underestimated. The more frightening fact was that Li Qiyi grasped the mysterious truths of this technique. From the ancient era until now, only the emperor and Li Qiyi have fully understood the principles behind the move. At this level, this technique could even slay a royal noble. Du Yuan Guang went into the match while underestimating his opponent. He did not have any defense ready. There was no way he could dodge the peerless strike. Li Qiyi traded his left shoulder in order to execute this move. Right now, the whole battle stage was completely silent. The laughters and jeers disappeared. It seemed like time had froze. Nan Hui Ren's jaws dropped to the floor. He hurried here in order to save Li Qiyi, but he couldn't imagine that Li Qiyi only needed one slash to dismember his opponent's body. Li Qiyi was slowly removing the magical sword from his shoulder. The noise of the sword cutting against his bone shrieked softly, but Li Qiyi showed no emotion or pain. He had experienced much worse pains in the past. He threw the sword away and stepped outside of the ring. He looked around and saw the crowd. Showing a dejected and regretful expression, he said, "It seems like my blade technique is still missing something. I had to trade a strike and now I am hurt." Remembering what had just occurred, Nan Hui Ren's jaws was still hugging the floor. It wouldn't be surprising for it to be dislocated after staying agape for so long. One blade to kill a cultivator and he was pretending to be sad. This fellow was shameless. As for the 9 Saint Demon Gate's disciples, their souls had not yet returned to their bodies. Du Yuan Guang was a genius amongst his peers, but he was instantly mutilated by his opponent. Protector Mo was the first to regain his composure. He immediately covered Li Qiyi's wound to stop the blood flow and he gravely said, "Go now." He carried Li Qiyi and left the arena while Nan Hui Ren followed right behind them. After settling Li Qiyi down, Protector Mo just sat there aimlessly. Right now, he didn't have the time to think about how Li Qiyi killed Du Yuan Guang. He was devastated about the consequences of killing a disciple from the 9 Saint Demon Gate. This was a huge disaster. Nan Hui Ren, on the other hand, was treating the wound of Li Qiyi with a special silver paste. Then he applied bandages around the shoulder. His mind still wondered about what happened. How is it possible for a martial technique to kill a provisional palace expert? He had seen Li Qiyi practice the move before. Although it was admirable, he didn't truly care for it since it was only a martial technique. That is only because you do not understand the truth. Comfortably relaxing in his chair, Li Qiyi was pleased with Nan Hui Ren's confused expression. Although Nan Hui Ren was not a genius, he was not without skill either. Otherwise, he would not be a hall master amongst the disciples. He had read the Invisible Dual Blades manual before. In his eyes, it was only a normal martial technique, but in Li Qiyi's hands it had a fearful offensive power. He looked at Li Qiyi carefully. As a wily person, he was capable of discerning characteristics and emotions from a person at a glance. However, the 13-year-old Li Qiyi in front of him he could not see through. 13 years of age was the age when a person first joined a sect. It was still a young age that was emotionally provocable. However, Li Qiyi possessed a calm aura that was as deep as the ocean. It was hard to describe it with words. His mortal physique, mortal life wheel, and mortal fate palace made the elders and Nan Hui Ren doubt him. In reality, Nan Hui Ren thought Li Qiyi had a mental illness during their first contact, a mental illness that made one act arrogant and carefree under all conditions. However, after these last few days, he was starting to understand that arrogance and calmness were naturally a part of who Li Qiyi was. Big disaster. Protector Mo panicked since he was without a solution and quickly said, "The trial is over, we have to return to our sect." Staying here right now was the same as being in a lion's den or a dragon's cave. The only thought in his mind right now was to flee. It is only a small matter, why do we have to run? As the culprit, Li Qiyi was lying down lazily on his chair. Slowly he spoke. "Me, there is no place safer than the 9 Saint Demon Gate." Protector Mo glared angrily at Li Qiyi. He really wanted to slap him a few times. However, he then remembered that a disaster was coming and he lost all desire to teach this brat a physical lesson. "What do you know?" Someone who was normally reserved and quiet like Protector Mo couldn't help but reprimand. "Do you think you are peerless under the heavens after you got lucky in killing Du Yuan Guang? You don't know the strength of the 9 Saint Demon Gate. Not to mention the Demon King, even an elder alone is enough to deal with our 6 elders. The 9 Saint Demon Gate destroying us is akin to killing an ant." Those words were humble but realistic. In reality, the 6 elders officially were to be given titles. They would just be named heroes. They would be equivalent to 9 Saint Demon Gate's protectors. The elders in the 9 Saint Demon Gate were all royal nobles at the very least, and the Demon King was one that had created countless miracles and legends in the last 30,000 years. His strength was deep without a ceiling. "My dear Protector Mo, do not worry yourself," Li Qiyi aloofly said. "If this was outside, I would be a bit troubled. However, it is the opposite now. We will see who will kill who. Named heroes, royal nobles, those fools can't reach the apex." Protector Mo was at a loss for words. This little kid just said that named heroes and royal nobles couldn't reach the apex when our elders were only named heroes. "You..." At that moment, something sounded outside. Nanhui Ren's expression instantly became sour. He quickly went out to check but ran back inside immediately and screamed in terror. Not good, there's a blockade outside the building. Crowd entered the building led by sectional leader Fu. His expression right now was very ugly. Brother Fu, this is only a little misunderstanding. Seeing Fu's expression, Protector Mo knew that one could not hide from the sun forever. He took a deep breath and went to greet him. One misunderstanding, then you can explain it to our junior Su Hui. Sectional leader Fu stood to the side and a young man walked next to him. This young man wore a golden robe, his body was surrounded by a bloody aura and above his head a translucent golden light was situated. He was only 20 but his aura was formidable. When he saw the young man, Protector Mo couldn't help but shiver. The man in front of him had most likely reached the stage of Heaven's Mandate. It was quite unbelievable. It took Protector Mo 50 years to reach Heaven's Mandate. This is Su Hui, the first disciple of Protector Hua. Du Yuan Guang was about to be Protector Hua's disciple but he is now dead. Junior Su Hui wants reparations. Sectional leader Fu coldly said. Su Hui stepped forward, his eyes radiated a golden light like a sword that had been unsheathed. He possessed a tyrannical aura, an aura that felt as if it wanted to devour others. Su Hui was, of course, a lot stronger than Du Yuan Guang. Even if he was not the ultimate genius, he was considered to be well established within the sect and many responsibilities were given to him. Killing must be punished by death, a blood feud has to be paid by blood, there is nothing else to say. Su Hui's eyes pierced toward Li Qi like an animal, wanting to separate him into many pieces. Protector Mo quickly mediated. Junior Su, this is a misunderstanding. My sect's disciple didn't want to kill him, it was only an accident. Su Hui gravely said. There is no room for discussion. Hand over the criminal right now, do not commit another mistake. Otherwise you guys are seeking death, be careful that this might bring about the end of your sect. No wonder. Li Qi slowly rose from his chair and gracefully walked forward while glaring at Su Hui. It is no wonder the atmosphere of the Nine Saint Demon Gate was so grim, it is because of idiots like you. Both Nanhui Ren and Protector Mo gulped in amazement. Nanhui Ren screamed inside. Oh my god, my great ancestor, speaking one or two less sentences wouldn't kill you now, would it? You calling him an idiot to his face is akin to pouring oil into the fire. With those words alone, it is enough to kill you 1,000 times over. Su Hui's killing intent amplified as he was filled with rage. He made a move towards Li Qi. Protector Mo interfered. He grabbed Su Hui's hand to stop him from rampaging. Protector Mo, don't make another mistake. Sectional leader Fu channeled his energy, his body started to radiate golden light. He took a step forward and his aura alone made it hard for Protector Mo to breathe. Protector Mo was surprised by the difference in strength between him and Fu. Fu was a named hero, unless an elder was here to combat him there was no one here who could stop him. Sectional leader Fu, is this how you treat your guests at the Nine Saint Demon Gate? Sectional leader Fu showed no emotions and proclaimed. If you hand over the criminal you will still be an esteemed guest at our sect. However, if you think your sect has the strength to be our enemy and continue to harbor the criminal, then not only will your life be forfeited but your entire sect will meet its demise. Sect's demise. Li Qi, who was protected by Protector Mo, lightly chuckled and said. The Nine Saint Demon Gate has become too arrogant. If there was a danger of a sect's demise it would be your sect. Li Qi no longer wanted to look at sectional leader Fu and Su Hui. He stepped outside, it was as if he was taking a stroll on an empty street and said. I don't care who the current master of the Nine Saint Demon Gate is, Demon King or Virtuous Paragon, whatever. If you want to follow the courtesy guidelines, fine. If not, then don't do it. I will gladly reciprocate the treatment. Today, right here, I will massacre all of the Nine Saint Demon Gate. I will send all of you down to meet the old chicken head. 1. Good, good, how courageous. I will pull out your ligaments, then flay your skin. Then we will see how you are going to destroy our sect. Su Hui was at a loss for words. This was the most comedic event he had ever witnessed. This was the first time he had seen such an arrogant and ignorant person. Right now, Protector Mo and Nanhui Ren wanted to dig a hole and hide themselves in it. A mortal proclaiming to destroy the Nine Saint Demon Gate? This was a sect that was extremely strong even within the whole of the Grand Middle Territory. It ruled over a whole nation. Who could actually massacre them? Li Qi ignored Su Hui and kept on walking gracefully outside. Bastard die. Su Hui floated into the air and rotated his sword's energy towards Li Qi. Stand down. A voice akin to thunder in the sky rang across the whole sect. No one could resist the authority contained within it. It pierced straight to the soul. Due to this voice, even Su Hui and sectional leader Fu couldn't help but shiver. Their limbs went limp. First Elder. Sectional leader Fu recognized the voice. With fear still spread through his body, he found himself unable to believe that such a small matter was causing the presence of the First Elder. It was a fair competition. When killed, one can only blame oneself for not being as skilled. His voice continued to roar through the sky. Legend has it that the first elder was an enlightened being. This was a character whose strength was only below the Demon King. His presence today made everyone think that there was more to the mortal than meets the eye. Our marriage alliance between the Nine Saint Demon Gate and the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect is our sect's tradition. The first elder, ignoring the death of Du Yuan Guang, let his thunderous voice strike again. However, marriage is not a small matter. If the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect wants to marry our prime descendant, he has to prove that he is worthy. After hearing the words of the first elder, Li Qi returned to his tranquil manner and said, "Finally, the Nine Saint Demon Gate has someone who will take responsibility. If you want to follow the tradition, I shall do the same. You want to test me? So be it, I accept. Picking a day is not as good as meeting the day. We shall conduct the test right now. To marry your descendant is my choice. However, if anyone dares to disrespect me, I will teach them a lesson, too." Finished with his words, he walked right outside. It will be today. After finishing his final command, the sky finally returned to its serene state. Everyone started to scatter since no one dared to disrespect the first elder's command. However, the consensus here was that Li Qi did not know that the sky was high and the earth was wide. His arrogance seemed to know no bounds. Protector Mo no longer cared for his image. He grabbed Li Qi and carried him back to the room. "You fool, if you want to die, please don't bring our sect down with you." "Protector Mo, do you have to be so scared?" Li Qi, unwilling to be carried back to the room, pushed Protector Mo's hands away. You. Protector Mo couldn't help himself anymore and started to hyperventilate. Then Hui Ren, like a mistreated bride, cried, "Senior, do you know how strong the Nine Saint Demon Gate is right now? Let alone their elders and the Demon King, all of their protectors have the qualification to be royal nobles. Demon King Lun Rai using a single hand would be enough to bring disaster to our sect. Before, when their first elder was disarming the conflict, you should have taken the chance to nullify the problem. Is that how it is? It is too late now, plus I prefer to talk with my fists." Li Qi coldly said. Of course, Li Qi could not reveal his secrets. If the Nine Saint Demon Gate wanted to cause trouble, he would use this opportunity to test the integrity of the sect. Although that year he promised Nine Saint Virtuous Paragon to take care of his descendants, but if they didn't know their place, Li Qi would be happy to cure them of their corruption. Additionally, it would justify him taking the treasures of Nine Saint Demon Gate. Nan Hui Ren gave up, no longer wanting to speak or look at Li Qi. He felt like he was conducting music, but only an ox was listening. It was a waste of his energy. 3. Protector Mo finally regained control of his voice. He could only scornfully say, "You better follow the rules and attend the trial. If you keep causing trouble, you don't have to worry about going back to the sect. No one can save you then." The trial was taking place in an ancient pavilion. There were two protectors acting as the mediators. One of them was Protector Hua, the master of Su Hui. The other was Grand Protector Yu He, the strongest protector in the Nine Saint Demon Gate. Circular, visible auras surrounded the body of Protector Hua. It was as if his body was made out of golden metal. As for the Grand Protector, his aura was much more intimidating. His royal noble strength seeped out in a sanguine color instead of a golden one. Many disciples surrounded the pavilion. Cultivating could be lonely and mundane. They all loved an opportunity for something entertaining to happen. There were so many here that even a fly could not get through the sea of people. The group that opposed this marriage the most consisted of the male disciples. They all hoped for Li Qi to fail his trial because they believed that he does not qualify to be the husband of their goddess. The disciples also did not like his attitude during the 2 days that he had been here. Of course, this was understandable since he did threaten to destroy the Nine Saint Demon Gate. The fire and hatred in their eyes could kill Li Qi 100 times over. They started to converse amongst themselves. "Let us kill him as well as the whole Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect. No, we have to cut off his arms and feet, then use his head as a candle holder." "A candle holder? That is too humane. This ant wants to marry our princess. We have to imprison him on top of Hawk Cliff. Let the hawks peck at him for 100 years while we keep him alive with medicinal techniques." The conversations quickly became yellings. The crowd fueled itself on anger and hatred towards Li Qi. Both Protector Mo and Nan Hui Ren were shaking in fear. Their teeth couldn't stop grinding. Li Qi removed himself from the surroundings and he calmly walked around the pavilion with an arrogant flair. Anyone else would have fainted from being surrounded by so many people that want to eat them alive. Hem. At this moment, Grand Protector Yu He coughed. This seemingly quiet cough overpowered the crowd. No matter how loud the surrounding was, everyone heard it and immediately stopped talking. The aura of a royal noble once again dominated the air. At this time, Protector Hua began to talk. "If you can successfully complete the trial, then our two sects will be in-laws just like the ancient tradition. If you can't pass it or die during the test, then it is only a shame that you are not skillful enough." Li Qi sat down on a chair, then slowly turned towards Protector Hua. He slowly shook his head and smiled. You can only say the Nine Saint Demon Gate is not as eminent as it once was. In that era, why did Nine Saint Virtuous Paragon make that promise? In that era, why did the two sects become in-laws and allies? In that era, the Cleansing Incense ancient sect was worshipped by the heavens and ruled the nine worlds. Simply put, the Nine Saint Demon Gate only wanted the protection of the Cleansing Incense ancient sect to have a backing in order to grow. Li Qi did not know all of the stories in the past because his condition was not fully stable at that time. The marriage tradition between the two was not proposed by immortal Emperor Ming Ren and Nine Saint Virtuous Paragon, it was proposed by their descendants. Li Qi continued. Now the era has changed and you guys want to relinquish the promise after having benefited from it. Your current generation is incomparable to your ancestors. Protector Hua interjected. HMMPH, it is as you said, eras change. If you want to say that the current generation is worse than the past, this statement applies to the Cleansing Incense ancient sect, not us. Now we rule the country, the emperor lineages who want to be our in-laws number more than just one or two, and you think someone like you is worthy of our princess. Just let the past go, you can't change anything by competing in a quarrel. Grand Protector Yu, he started to speak. We are giving you a chance to honor the promise that year. If you are afraid you can leave now, we will not stop or bother you. The promise that year will end here. If I am here then I must take the challenge. What is the trial? Li Qi preferred Yuhi's attitude a lot more. Since your cultivation level is not ideal, Our Highness has decided to give you a better chance. The first will not be combat-oriented, however, the second will be. Yuhi continued after a short pause. First is very simple, you will have to go into the chaotic heart forest with one of our disciples. The one that travels farther will win. The second is even simpler, it will be a solo fight to determine the victor. There is also a third test, but you only need to win 2 to pass the trial. The third test consists of... No need to continue, 2 tests will suffice. Li Qi cut off the protector. How arrogant! Protector Hua yelled at him for being so arrogant. He started to exert pressure towards Li Qi. The test hasn't even started and you want to fight already. Li Qi narrowed his eyes, he found great joy in aggravating people he did not like. Grand Protector Yu, he coughed once again. The cough cuts off the pressure that Protector Hua was exerting. This made Protector Hua angry. He could kill Li Qi just by lifting his finger. There has never been an insect that has dared to talk to him like this before. Alright, let us start this test. Li Qi rose from his seat. Both tests are fine, I want to see the abilities of your princess. Hui contemptuously laughed. You don't have the qualification for Senior Li to participate herself, I will be the one that you are up against. Yuhi nodded in agreement. I heard you have only recently joined the Cleansing Incense ancient sect. We will not cheat you. If the princess personally delivered the test, then you would have 0 chance. Here, when it comes to inner talents and potential, the princess is number 1. When it comes to current strength, Junior Leng is the best. If one of them comes to test you, then after losing you would claim that it was unfair. Junior Su Hui has average talents amongst our inner disciples. Using him to test the prime disciple of the Cleansing Incense ancient act should not be too demeaning to your status. By not sending out their best disciples, the Nine Saint Demon Gate was giving Li Qi a sliver of hope. If the strongest disciple or Li Shuangyan participated, then even the 6 elders would have problems. Li Qi didn't bother to look at Su Hui. He stared at Yuhi and formally said, if this is the case, then at least your Nine Saint Demon Gate still has some hope after all. Although you went back on the original promise, you still managed to save a little bit of face and dignity. Fine, since you are allowing me to walk an extra step, I will spare you a yard just so that in the future you can't say that I have bullied the sect. 1. Character like you, he had spent many years experiencing everything life had to offer, but when he was staring at Li Qi, it still puzzled him that there could be someone who was so arrogant and confusing. Does he not know of our strength? Does he have 0 concept of cultivation levels? Yuhi broke his stoic demeanor with a small laugh. Go to the chaotic heart forest, the one that can go the farthest will win. Seeing that the test had finally begun, people started going towards the chaotic heart forest. In a second the forest was already surrounded. HMMPH entering the chaotic heart forest, what can that trash hope to do? In the outskirts of the forest, jeering conversations began again. Another disciple voices another thought. In the last examination, Senior Su made it to level 5 of the forest. Now that he has reached the Heaven's Mandate stage and started getting ready to cultivate in the Warrior Canopy stage, his cultivation strength and willpower are much stronger than before. I predict that he could get to the 7th level. 1. The stages for cultivators are as follows from low to high. Palace Foundation, Palace Expansion, Yun Physique, Provisional Palace, Inner Longevity, Heaven's Mandate, Warrior Canopy, Purified Rebirth, Heaven's Primal and Fertility God. Once one has reached the unbeatable stage and received the Heaven's Will, one will be named Immortal Emperor. There were no immortals in the world, so a person might ask, why was there an emperor for immortals? Why does this title exist? It is because there is a saying, my fate is mine alone, not up to the heavens. The Heaven's Will serves as a shackle, it encompasses and traps all living beings. Once a cultivator reaches the pinnacle, their goal is to control the heavens will so that they will finally be free from the prison. This was why one will be called immortal emperor once they have obtained the heaven's will. However, no one truly knows if true immortality was possible. This remained a mystery. Each era only has one heaven's will. Each era can only have one person becoming an immortal emperor. The chaotic heart forest was where the 9 Saint Demon Gate judged a disciple's innate talents, cultivation affinity, and willpower. At this place, the most important quality was one's willpower. It consists of 14 levels. From an outside view, there were no drastic visual differences between it and a normal forest. However, this seemingly normal place was created by 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon. Intruders would be shown realistic illusions. Even the ones that possessed mystic eyes could not see through the technique unless they were stronger than 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon. Otherwise, the technique would be reality for all who stepped inside. For example, one could find himself trapped in a sea of fire. The body would feel as if it was actually entrapped. The mind would clearly feel the pain. The higher the level, the stronger the illusion would be. Of course, you could still use cultivation techniques to mitigate the pain as well as merit laws to prevent the fire from reaching your body. The only thing was that you could not escape the forest using any distance traversing techniques. Idiotic little boy, hurry up and enter. Outside of the forest, Su Hui smirked contemptuously towards Li Qiyi. He believed that with his current abilities it would be no problem to enter the 8th level. Li Qiyi looked at the forest and grinned slightly. That year the old chicken created the chaotic heart forest himself. It was indeed a good location to test willpower. Me? Li Qiyi spoke clearly. Traversing the chaotic heart forest holds no meaning to me. If I were to enter, then you wouldn't even have the chance to show your worth. You go first so that later on you can't say I didn't give you a chance. Li Qiyi again spouted arrogant comments, making everyone else shiver in contempt. Protector Mo and Nanhui Ren wanted to lock up his mouth forever. Would you die if you said a few less sentences? Lying all the time. Idiots! Protector Hua proclaimed. You are just a piece of trash that doesn't know what cultivational willpower is, yet still runs his mouth without shame. Su Hui couldn't believe a mere mortal was looking down on him. He frowned. Good, such strong words. I have to see how many levels you can make it through. How many levels? How meaningless. Going through 14 isn't a big deal at all. Li Qiyi continued. That is why I'm letting you go first, so you wouldn't be so shocked. Do all people of the cleansing incense ancient sect lie like you without any hesitation? Another disciple couldn't stand it anymore and yelled out. Everyone knows that going through level 7 of the chaotic heart forest was considered a wondrous task for the younger generation. To complete level 7, one would have to have a tenacious willpower or a high level of cultivation. Even the calm Grand Protector Yu, he couldn't help but shake his head. Why was he the prime disciple of the cleansing incense ancient sect? Going through 14 levels, was it that easy? Even Yu, he cannot go through the 14 levels at his current level. 14 levels. Hui exploded in laughter. If you can go through all 14 levels, I will call you father. I wouldn't have an unfilial son like you. Li Qiyi retorted. Good, if you are that confident with your mouth, do you dare to make a bet? Bet A, what will we bet? Li Qiyi smiled happily and asked. If you can penetrate all 14 levels, I will voluntarily concede. If you can't do it, then you have to crawl under my crotch, too. This bet caused the expressions of Protector Mo and Nanhui Ren to instantly darken. This wasn't a test, it was a facade to shame Li Qiyi and the cleansing incense ancient sect. However, they could only dejectedly shake their heads. Li Qiyi brought this upon himself. Would you do the same if I make it through the 14th level? You will crawl under my crotch, right? Li Qiyi asked. If you can make it through the 14th level, he will do it and vice versa. Protector Hua interjected. Due to the killing of Du Yuan Guang, Protector Hua wanted to kill Li Qiyi with his bare hands. Since the opportunity wasn't right, the best he could do was to shame Li Qiyi. Li Qiyi looked back at Protector Hu, then formally nodded his head and said, Fine, if this is your betting condition, I shall accept. Disciples of the 9 Saint Demon Gate all yelled loudly. Senior Su, destroy him, accept the bet. Hui coldly replied. I'll wait for you to crawl beneath me. He then turned and left towards the chaotic heart forest. This time, the cleansing incense ancient sect will lose all face. Their prime disciple will have to perform such an act, haha. One disciple creepily laughed. Su Hui took his first step into the forest. The surroundings immediately darkened. He found himself in a demonic world. It was an area spanning 10,000 miles. Demonic energy filled the air. Countless skeletons and the sounds of bones colliding with each other could be heard even before the bodies began to emancipate themselves from the ground. Su Hui inhaled and calmed himself. He channeled his energy and strengthened himself with his cultivation and steeled his willpower. He ignored the demons and passed through them with ease. First level. Everyone outside watched carefully without blinking an eye. Without any hindrance, Su Hui successfully passed through the first level. Second level, third level. Su Hui was definitely not average. His cultivation level and willpower were both excellent. His speed at breaking through the first 3 levels was, indeed, very swift. The fourth level, however, his speed began to slow down. Fierce silver skeleton kings began to attack him. In the beginning he chose to evade and parry them, but after his hands were broken, making him cry out in pain, his body started to destroy them instead as a defense mechanism. He possessed a silver body that warded off invaders on its own. However, this took a lot of energy. Once he reached level 5, he was completely surrounded by the skeletons. He roared loudly and summoned his defensive artifact. His magical sword flew straight into the sky. Its blade spewed out true energy. This form of energy consisted of the Tao of Truths, and it conquered the 4 spheres 3. His life wheel appeared behind his head. It was a crimson red that encompasses the sky. It performed with unparalleled laws of power that destroyed everything in the surrounding area. Cultivation techniques that allowed for one to use his life wheel as an offensive tool were often stronger than certain physique forming techniques. This life wheel technique specialized in destruction, left behind by the virtuous Paragon. It was not of Paragon level, but it was still quite formidable nevertheless. 4. Li Qi slightly shook his head when he saw Su Hui killing his way through level 5. Chaotic Heart Forest. If your heart was chaotic, then killing only increased the uncertainty and exacerbate the illusions. 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon's goal was to train the willpower of the students, not their physical or combat strength. Level 7. Su Hui annihilated his way to the 7th level. This put the spectators in awe. Even Protector Hua felt satisfied. Su Hui was his disciple and his pride. Although Su Hui's aptitude could not compare to Li Shuangyan's and his strength was lacking against first disciple Leng Shizai, his progress today had pleased his master. Bang! Su Hui had only made it to level 7, but his strength had been expended. He couldn't handle the pressure of the chaotic heart forest any longer and was promptly removed. Just a little bit more. After the forceful ejection, it took Su Hui a moment to regain his consciousness. He couldn't help but yell out his regret. He thought that he could have at least made it to level 8, but he had still underestimated the difficulty of the chaotic heart forest. Protector Hua gently consoled his disciple. You did well, there is no need to force what isn't meant to be. He approvingly nodded his head. To be able to enter the 7th level at this age is a very commendable feat within the younger generation. Su Hui gathered his wits, took a deep breath and coldly stared at Li Kai. Your turn, it's not too late to give up. Then, Su Hui spread out his legs and showed a shady smile. If you do it now, I won't make things hard for you later on. If you wait until after you have failed the test, then it would be difficult to predict what your fate will be. Li Kai ignored the taunts and entered the chaotic heart forest step by step. In front of him was a sea of fire. It was a world filled with lava and fiery crackles. Inside this illusion, his feet were burnt to a crisp. No one could imagine how much pain he was feeling, but Li Kai just strutted on without muttering a single groan. Li Kai did not mind the chaotic heart forest. During the desolate era, he spent his time being tortured while his soul was severed from his body. He had suffered at the hands of heavenly demons and trapped by the ancient Ming. He spent what felt like an eternity without sunlight and underwent many torturous ordeals. Although the body of the Dark Crow was immortal, pain could still be felt. 1,000,000 years passed. He traveled through all of the forbidden burials, spent time in the land of immortals, and fell into the realm of ghosts and devils. These were the most dangerous places in this world. Compared to those places, the chaotic heart forest was nothing more than a short stroll. It couldn't break his willpower. In the blink of an eye, he had passed the first level. In the illusion, the sea of fire disappeared. Li Kai was now in a frozen world, surrounded by the icy cold gales of a tundra. Outside of the forest, countless disciples were waiting for Li Kai to be kicked out. Protector Mo and Nanhuern still had their gazes turned away as they were unwilling to see Li Kai being humiliated. However, as moments passed, a silence encroached the surroundings. One could hear the drop of a needle from a mile away. Surprised by the lack of jeers and cheers from Li Kai's failure, the two turned their heads around. What entered their sight was an unimaginable scene. Disciples softly whimpered in shock. Level 8. Level 9, 10, 11. Li Kai paraded through the levels as if he was walking in an empty street. His speed remained as swift as it was during the first level. Level 14. In the end, Li Kai went straight through the chaotic heart forest with full confidence, and he leisurely stepped out of the last level. Everyone was now frozen. Passing through the 14 levels of the chaotic heart forest, this was an impossible feat. From the ancient past until now, none from the younger generation of the 9 Saint Demon Gate had ever accomplished it. Even Li Shuangyan, who had the highest aptitude and most fortified willpower, couldn't accomplish such a feat. This is impossible, simply impossible, this cannot be. Su Hui fell deep into confusion, but this was the reality that laid before his eyes. Protector Hua had his mouth wide open as well. He couldn't close it due to his bewilderment. Even the sect master could not pass the 14th level of the chaotic heart forest. What kind of willpower was this? Li Kai came back and casually spoke. This is only the appetizer. It was as if he had just taken a walk in the comfort of his own garden. Li Ke glanced at Su Hui and casually declared, "Okay, kneel and start crawling." Su Hui loudly howled, "No, no, this cannot be happening." It wasn't only him, everyone else here also found themselves in disbelief. Protector Hua wondered, was there something wrong with the chaotic heart forest? Surely that is the case. Maybe the prohibiting spells of the forest have lost their power. It was as if Su Hui was trying to find a tree branch while drowning. He quickly added, "It doesn't count, the chaotic heart forest has lost its effect." "There is no chance it has lost its power." A while later, Grand Protector Yu-He gathered his thoughts, shook his head and continued, "From the creation of the sect, the forest has never been ineffective. I will go and check." Finished with his words, he personally entered the chaotic heart forest. Yu-He was indeed formidable and befitting his Grand Protector status. His willpower was substantial, he easily made it through the first 9 levels. After reaching the 10th level, his speed decreased. A loud noise roared through the air. Yu-He could not pass all the levels of the forest. He was kicked out before reaching the 11th level. The chaotic heart forest did not lose its power. Yu-He stated this with complete confidence. He stared at Li Ke with curious eyes, not understanding the event that had transpired. Ke, who was only 13 years old, was capable of finishing the chaotic heart forest. Unless there was a mysterious force at work here, his cultivation willpower was immutable. However, a mere 13-year-old boy could not possibly have this level of willpower. It required centuries and millenniums to have such a mind. Although he had a mortal body and inferior innate talents, it would only be a matter of time before he became a virtuous paragon through sheer willpower. Protector Hua inquired, Are you carrying a sacred treasure?" Su Hui raises his voice, "That has to be the case. The Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect is an immortal emperor level sect. Maybe he is hiding an immortal emperor sacred treasure." This was indeed the most logical explanation. Right now, everyone was thinking that this was the case. Ultimately, even though the sect was now weak, it was not unreasonable to think that 1 or 2 immortal emperor sacred treasures were left behind. If he used just one of them, then he could indeed pass the chaotic heart forest unharmed. Protector Hua boldly proclaimed, "Using a sacred treasure to cheat, this bet does not count." He was sure that Li Ke had committed foul play. "Protector Hua, that is unfair." Protector Mo had no time to think about how Li Ke passed the trial. He gravely said, "This is a test designed by your sect. You cannot lose and then relinquish the test." Protector Hua replied, "If you use a treasure to cheat, then of course it won't count." Taking Li Ke aside, Protector Mo continued, "It does not matter whether he used external tools or not. Your sect did not declare that he could not use treasures to pass the test. Our disciple has gone through the forest. This round is ours." Protector Mo did not want to waste time, so he turned to Yu-He and asked, "Protector Yu, did the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect win this round or not?" About this matter, Yu-He could not decide. He did not believe that Li Ke had actually passed the forest without external help. However, the 9 Saint Demon Gate also did not state the rule that one couldn't use sacred treasures. "I walk my route straight and sit tall. My heart has no shameful secrets to the heavens." Unlike the people of the 9 Saint Demon Gate, betting and losing and then being unable to accept the loss. "If you think I am hiding a treasure, then try and find it. If you can find it, then I will give it to you." Yu-He contemplated for a moment, lifted his head and then spoke to Li Ke. "If you want to prove your innocence, we have a solution. The great ancestor left behind a treasure named the Immortal Bone Mirror. It can see through all hidden objects. If you are willing to let us use it, then we can tell whether you bear a treasure or not." "I agree to the usage of the Immortal Bone Mirror." Protector Hua was the first to speak. "If the mirror cannot find anything, then it will mean that he did not carry a hidden treasure." The disciples banded together and roared, "Yes, if you don't want to, then it means that you cheated." "I pity you lot." Li Ke stared at them and agreed, "I will allow the mirror test, bring it out." Yu-He sent people to grab the mirror. This mirror had a deep history. It was said that its heritage dated back to the Desolate Era and that it had been honed by an immortal emperor. The Immortal Bone Mirror was much stronger than the mirror that was used by the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect to test new disciples. The Immortal Bone Mirror revealed itself. The shiny glass had immortal flow patterns, exuding an aura like a living creature. Even Yu-He was in fear from its power. The Immortal Bone Mirror flashed on the body of Li Qi, forcing his life wheel and fate palace to appear. His life wheel slowly turned, lacking any pressure, while his fate palace had not been opened. Yu-He concluded, "He has a mortal physique, mortal life wheel and a mortal fate palace that has not been opened. He has not started cultivating. Also, there are no hidden treasures on his body." The lowest level of cultivation is the palace foundation level. Once one started to cultivate, even the lowest of talents could open the fate palace in 1 day if fast, 10 days if slow. Under the gaze of the Immortal Bone Mirror, Li Qi could not hide anything. All that he is was revealed to the eyes of the spectators. "Protector Hua, Protector Yu, are you guys satisfied now?" Protector Mo solemnly questioned. Being subjected to the Immortal Bone Mirror was shameful to the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect. Our apologies. Yu He was a man of character. He nodded his head and politely said. Li Qi did not cheat. After hearing the confirmation from Yu He, the crowd had no comments to make. They still couldn't believe that a mortal with the worst of characteristics was able to pass through the forest. Zhu Hui was the most devastated of them all. But how can this be true? Li Qi leered at him and spoke. It seems like you are not convinced, but that is quite all right. I will make it so that you will crawl without hesitation. It is only the chaotic heart forest, only an idiot like you would only reach level 7. Open your eyes to see your grandpa go once again. After his taunt, Li Qi re-entered the forest. All eyes were focused intensely on the forest, not wanting to miss a single detail. They wanted to reach a conclusion that their minds could comprehend within the realm of logic. If Li Qi succeeds again, then they'll have no choice but to change their view on the world. But if he failed, then all was good with the world. Level 14. Nan Hui Ren was keeping count as Li Qi went through the levels. Even though this was the second time, he was just as shocked as the first. He truly understood now. Although Li Qi's cultivation aptitude and physique could not reach the apex, he possessed an unfaltering willpower. A 13-year-old had a stronger mind than he did after 1,000 years of cultivation. Start crawling. Li Qi came back and mischievously spread his legs in front of Su Hui. You. Su Hui trampled the ground in shame. His expression turned white. If he had to crawl beneath Li Qi before all of these spectators, then he would lose all face in the future. Our 9 Saint Demon Gate has our honor. If you lose a bet, you have to bear the consequence. Yu He nodded. Su Hui, you were the one who wanted this bet in the first place. Now carry out your end of the bargain. Zai Hui almost fainted on the spot. If Protector Yu had spoken, then even his master could not save him. He grinded his teeth and unwillingly knelt before Li Qi. His body froze for a minute. This was the most shameful event of his life. Eventually, he started to crawl through Li Qi's legs. Li Qi looked down and spoke. When people show me an ounce of respect, I will treat them well, but if anyone dares to cross me, then I will repay them 10-folds. A genius disciple of the 9 Saint Demon Gate is nothing in my eyes. Finished speaking, Li Qi turned around and walked away. Su Hui fell down to the ground. He puked out blood from anger and became unconscious. 1. Hyoyar 2. Protector Hua quickly grabbed Su Hui and massaged his meridians. Returning to the pavilion, Protector Hua and Yu He found their seats. Li Qi was already sitting there arrogantly like a king. It made the other disciples feel the urge to beat him up. Protector Hua leered at Li Qi and a great hatred shone in his eyes. When a disciple was shamed as the master, they shared the same enemy. Shaming his disciple was the same as slapping him on the face. Li Qi playfully knocked on the table and said, "The first test has been completed, let us get started on the second." Before Yu He thought that Li Qi was ignorantly arrogant. However, after having thought about it again, maybe he had some secret tricks. A mortal without the basics of cultivation. What was his backing that allowed for him to challenge the 9 Saint Demon Gate? Could it be that the cleansing incense ancient sect still had hidden secrets not yet revealed? Yu He quickly dismissed his last thought. As the Grand Protector, he was fully aware of the current position of the cleansing incense ancient sect. If it had any secrets left, then it would not be submitting to the Heavenly Jewel Kingdom. The second piece of information was that Li Qi had only joined the sect for a few days, and he forcefully used the cleansing incense ancient order to become the prime disciple. Even the 6 elders there did not welcome him. Yu He had no idea what hidden mysteries this person could have without any support. Returning to the matter at hand, Yu He clearly said, "Right now, Su Hui is not in his best condition. If you want to perform the test, then we will have to change your opponent." "Honorable Protector, I am fine." Su Hui all of a sudden stood up straight. Despite his pale complexion, he violently leered at Li Qi, and killing intent was seen in his eyes. He swore to himself that he would be the one to kill Li Qi, using his blood to wash away his shame. He used his proud standing posture to maintain and announce his confidence. He lifted his head high and proclaimed, "Protector, I can still fight." Yu He slightly frowned. He knew exactly what Su Hui was thinking. He gently spoke. "Junior Su, your current condition is not fit for combat." This matter was very important within the 9 Saint Demon Gate, and Li Qi had already won the first match. "Senior Yu, this kid has a strong will. A setback will not deter him. Please give him another chance." Protector Hua tried to support his disciple's wish. Su Hui grinded his teeth and said with extreme determination, "Protector, if I make a single mistake, I will pay for it with my life." Yu He contemplated for a moment. Within the younger disciples, Su Hui had obtained Heaven's mandate and was close to the warrior canopy stage. It would be difficult to find another who was as strong. Plus, his cultivation included the life wheel technique, Fierce Slaughter Sword. Yu He understood the strength of this technique. It was crafted by a virtuous paragon in the sect. If Su Hui used his life wheel without any hesitation, then none of his peers would be able to defeat him in a life or death contest, barring the strongest ones. If Su Hui didn't fight, then the safe choices would be Li Shuangyan or Leng Shizhai, however those two weren't an option. Yu He was no longer underestimating Li Qiyi, but he couldn't think of a way for a mortal to defeat a Heaven's Mandate cultivator with a virtuous paragon technique. Good, you will fight then. After careful consideration, he agreed with the choice of Su Hui. On the battle stage, surrounded by spectators, Su Hui was hellbent on destroying Li Qiyi. He wanted to pull out his muscles, flay his skin, and smash his body into 1,000 pieces. Nan Hui Ren and Protector Mo wanted to believe in Li Qiyi. Although the chance of him winning was slim, he had continuously performed miracles in the past. Hey, can he really beat Senior Su? Ever since Li Qiyi went through the chaotic heart forest in one go, the disciples of the Nine Saint Demon Gate considered him as a real opponent. The older senior shook his head. The difference between them is too great. It is a mortal versus a Heaven's Mandate cultivator. Li Qiyi wouldn't be able to win unless he was somehow given an immortal emperor's true energy, but even that isn't realistic. Even with it, he wouldn't have enough blood force to activate the energy. That is true, a mortal cannot activate a single usage of an immortal emperor's true energy. The fierce slaughter sword technique of Junior Su is overly powerful from its mysterious truths. A life or death battle with that technique would not bode well for his opponent. The disciple that had previously sparred with Su Hui offered his opinion. Don't forget about his Silver Eagle physique as well. Although it is only a Haoshan rank physique, it has considerable speed. If you combine both his speed and power, you can say that his offensive power is nearly unmatched in our generation. 2. Cultivators valued physiques very highly. They ranked from weakest to strongest as the following: Mortal Physique, Haoshan Physique, Xianshan Physique, Emperor Physique, Saint Physique, and lastly, Immortal Physique. The majority of the world has the Mortal Physique, including Li Qiyi. It is the weakest both in terms of physical strength and blood force. Su Hui roared, sword energies rotated around his body in an upward manner. They became a giant, impenetrable fortress of visible, radiant swords, all pointing towards Li Qiyi. The technique served as a defensive measure as he was channeling his energy. Open! A heavenly sword came out from Su Hui's mouth. It split into 8 different heavenly swords. These swords were gigantic, towering at 200 meters each. A single strike could split the earth itself. Fierce Slaughter Sword, Heavenly Sword Yan Jin. Disciple couldn't help but exclaim their jealousy and envy. Su Hui's true energy is formed by Yan Jin's Heavenly Jade with a complete magical pattern. Heavenly Sword Yan Jin is for offense and Fierce Slaughter Sword for defense. Within our generation, he is nearly unbeatable. Witnessing the scene, Protector Mo was humbled. Su Hui proved to be more powerful than expected, especially when he has the possession of the Yan Jin sword. Protector Mo himself wouldn't be able to pierce through Su Hui's defenses. After his failed attack, the Yan Jing sword formation would immediate counter-attack at the time when he is the most vulnerable. Su Hui maneuvered his swords at Li Qiyi and maniacally yelled, "Come here, you bastard, today I will slice you into 1,000 pieces." Fu. Li Qiyi spat into his palms and then rubbed them together. This rather crude gesture was completely different from his normally elegant demeanor. 1,000 pieces. Li Qiyi retorted. You alone is not enough. Let me beat you into a pig's head. Even your parents will not recognize who you are after I am done. Li Qiyi slowly took out the serpent punishing stick. Nan Hui Ren almost went unconscious from the scene. Wasn't that the fireplace stick in the grand chamber of the cleansing incense ancient sect? He was expecting Li Qiyi to use the invisible dual blades technique. Maybe its miraculous power would help him tie the fight. However, Li Qiyi wasn't using the blades but a wooden stick instead. The Yan Jin sword would cut that thing in half in a second. Protector Mo's only thought at this moment was to save Li Qiyi's life the moment it was in danger, no matter the cost. Using a wooden stick to fight against the Yan Jin sword, could it be an immortal emperor-grade weapon? He squinted his eyes and opened his heavenly vision technique in order to see through the wooden stick. He was, indeed, worried that the stick was a treasure made by an immortal emperor. However, despite his numerous techniques and concentration, the wooden stick was just a wooden stick. There were no magical enchantments nor cultivation techniques to utilize. A wooden stick versus a Heaven's Mandate level sword. He was at a loss for words. Protector Hua was not as skeptical as He only wanted to witness Li Qiyi's death. Li Qiyi pointed his serpent punishing stick at Su Hui like a ruffian and said, "Little boy, come here, let this grandpa shatter your butt. I'll kill you." Su Hui screamed as the 8 heavenly swords became one sword. Straight from the sky, the Yan Jin sword, surrounded by a gigantic energy, swung down towards Li Qiyi. Its path burned with fire, the battle stage now bathed in a sea of flames. This is the end. Nan Hui Ren turned around, not wanting to see the result of this monstrous strike. It seemed like Su Hui wanted to finish this in one move and he used his most powerful technique. Good. Li Qiyi paid no mind. He screamed in a strange manner and jumped forward with a random motion swinging his stick. The scene that everyone was expecting did not happen. The serpent punishing stick met the weakest part of the Yan Jin sword during its trajectory. The sword's energy dissipated and the physical sword plunged to the ground. It was as if it was bitten by a poisonous snake, unable to obey Su Hui's command. Little boy, I will beat you into a pig's head. Su Hui hadn't regained his composure, but Li Qiyi was already in front of him. The stick passed through his sword fortress and rained blows directly onto his body. Die! Su Hui did not retreat. He once again gathered his sword energy and surrounded Li Qiyi with it. Gather! However, to no avail, his virtuous paragon sword technique had no effect. The serpent punishing stick continuously struck at the formation's weakest points and he successfully negated the incoming blows. Finally, it struck Su Hui's face and that one blow made Su Hui redden with blood. He became disoriented, stars in his eyes and thunder in his ears. 3. Bam bam bam! In the blink of an eye, Li Qiyi had pummeled Su Hui 10 times, all of them hitting the meridians and his weakest spots. Su Hui was like a snake without its skeletal body, unable to stand up. His blood force was in disarray and his cultivation techniques were unusable. He fell to the ground with a busted face. Serpent punishing stick was not a heavenly treasure, it was only a regular wooden stick. Hitting a snake required one to aim for its head. This was true for the blows struck by Li Qiyi as well. They have to hit the weak points and defensive holes of the opponents. Unless the opponent had reached the heaven's primal stage, they could not escape the blows, for he had not perfected his own understanding of the defensive mysterious truths. One of the requirements for heaven's primal is a rebirth of one's body and the understanding of techniques as well as a body protection aura, rendering the serpent punishing stick useless. However, since Su Hui was far away from heaven's primal, the wooden stick was his prime nemesis. Keep in mind that even immortal Emperor Min Ren was beaten by the stick, repeatedly. The same applied for all of his strongest generals, including 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon. The serpent punishing stick was a regular branch grown from a small tree in the demon forest, basked by demonic aura throughout the ages. However, this made it anything but ordinary. The demon forest was one of the few ancient forbidden dangers. The stick also had another property that made it appealing to Li Qiyi. No matter how many times a person is struck by it, they would not die from the blows. It was a stick specifically meant for punishment and teaching. This made it very appropriate for Li Qiyi when dealing with the powerful geniuses under his tutelage. Bang bang bang! After Su Hui had fallen unconscious to the ground, Li Qiyi did not show any mercy. He kept on striking the body of Su Hui. His body was now filled with wounds, no one could tell if he was dead or alive. This scene jolted the spectators. Yu He once again activated his mysterious eyes to look at the serpent punishing stick, but he still couldn't find anything special about it. Bow, I just spent 40 minutes translating about a normal wooden stick, but this is why I like this story. The little things about his past are interesting to me. Let me know if you guys felt the same or maybe hated it. Knocked and I just spent 30 minutes reading about a wooden stick. Woo tilde. Narrowbear, it adds a nice touch of sentimentality and history to it that I like. It was natural that Yu He could not see through an object like the serpent punishing stick. Since ancient times, the amount of people that have seen it with their own eyes were few. Without his knowledge from traversing the forbidden dangers, he too would not have known the secret and magical properties of the serpent punishing stick. If one could not discern its characteristics, then it was only a wooden stick in their eyes. I'll kill you. Although his body was tattered with wounds, his silver eagle physique activated automatically. Below Su Hui's ribs, 2 sharp claws came out and went for the heart of Li Qiyi. Su Hui had the silver eagle physique because his father was a silver eagle that became a human from having an accomplished cultivation level. The pair of claws were always hiding inside his body in case he ever needed to suddenly surprise his enemies. Fan! The wooden stick easily stopped the silver eagle claws, forcing them back into Su Hui's body. You seek your own death. Li Qiyi coldly proclaimed. Whoosh whoosh. 2 blades immediately pierced through Su Hui's shoulders and pinched him into the ground, immobilizing his body. Do you think it is that easy to kill me? Today I'm going to hit you without mercy. Li Qiyi continued to hit him with the wooden stick. He felt cheated by the event that had just transpired. That is enough. At this moment, Protector Hua could no longer keep watching. He jumped into the battle stage and yelled. Li Qiyi glanced at him and said, What now? If the child can't win, the old man wants to join in as well. Young one, don't be so delusional. His eyes contained anger and hatred. He gravely said, Let him go or I will personally kill you today. I was going to spare him, but... After finishing, Li Qiyi sliced the 2 blades across Su Hui's body, severing him into multiple pieces. The blades that struck through to the floor created a rain of blood and sparks. Huir, you little bastard, accept your death. Protector Hua lost all restraint and his blood force punctured through the sky. A magical sword towering 20,000 meters flew towards Li Qiyi. Protector Mo couldn't react in time, his mind was full of panic. Bang! As the sky-piercing sword appeared suddenly, a gigantic foot from the heavens stomped down with an unstoppable force. No one could stop this blow, not a named hero nor a royal noble, not even an enlightened being or a heavenly king would have been able to. All living beings were just ants compared to the might of that foot. No! Protector Hua only managed to let out a pitiful scream. His body under the giant foot became meat paste, he could not be more dead. Everyone was shocked because the foot did not belong to Li Qiyi, it was from one of the 4 gigantic statues situated at the 4 corners of this battle stage. It was unbelievable that a royal noble like Protector Hua was killed in one stomp. Yuka! Everything happened too fast. Grand Protector Yu He had ignited his blood force and flung it towards the foot in order to save Protector Hua. However, that foot did not take any damage, it performed another stomp. Bang! Yu He was smashed away straight into the main mountain, his blood wouldn't stop flowing. Don't you dare! A thunderous cry roared up in the sky, it was as if it was encompassing all of the mysterious truths of the heaven and earth. Heavenly auras illuminated the whole sky. A person suddenly appeared in the distance, floating in the air. Behind his head was a heavenly blinding aura that could burn the world. First Elder! All of the 9 Saint Demon Gate disciples yelled out in bewilderment. The first elder raised his palm and immediately flipped it towards the statue. This palm technique that carried incomparable might flew towards the statue. Bang! Another deafening sound blasted into the air. This time the statue used its hand to meet the palm strike. It annihilated the technique. The first elder's blood painted the sky's color. Even someone as formidable as he could not handle a single strike from the statue. Everyone was at a loss for words. The statues at the battle stage suddenly made a move, killing Protector Hua, kicking Yu He away, and used one punch to defeat the first elder. Afterwards, the statue remained still like nothing had happened. Li Qiyi in the middle of the arena casually opened his mouth. Like I said, if the 9 Saint Demon Gate does not follow the rules, I would have no qualms in flipping your sect upside down. HMMPH. The first elder, although wounded, had his blood force that was still going strong. He immediately flew to the sky, wanting to use all of his might against the statues. He was afraid inside because he did not know why their own statues would rebel against the sect. Elder, don't make any more moves. These 4 statues are the heavenly guardians of the 9 Saint Demon Gate. Right now, a commanding voice that was filled with nobility rang from the deepest part of the 9 Saint Demon Gate. Sect Master. Hearing this voice, everyone from the 9 Saint Demon Gate knew who it belonged to. This was the sect master, Demon King Lun Rai, the leader of a whole generation of geniuses in the Grand Middle Territory. The first elder stopped immediately. He kept staring at the 4 statues while he pondered many questions. All of the disciples were surprised as well. They have never heard anyone talk about the sect having heavenly guardians, let alone heavenly guardians that could harm their own sect. Elder Protector Yu He, please invite young Master Li into the sky chamber to talk. Would that be all right? After hearing the invitation, Li Qiyi smirked and answered. Finally, someone who can see with their eyes, a little talk will not hurt. Grand Protector Yu He quickly came to Li Qiyi and respectfully gestured him toward the sky chamber. The more he stared at Li Qiyi, the more afraid he became. This 13-year-old was too frightening. The sky chamber was an important location in the 9 Saint Demon Gate. All major decisions were discussed and made there, and only elders had the qualifications to enter. Of course, Protector Mo and Nan Hui Ren could not enter as well. Since the sky chamber was situated in the deepest part of the sect and Li Qiyi could not fly, a grand royal noble like Yu He had to bend down to fly him over on his back. Right now, all of the elders were present in the chamber. Heavenly auras exuded from all of their bodies, their life wheels bounced up and down, mysterious patterns of law that resembled the creation of a new world crossed their entire bodies. They had all reached the stage of enlightened beings, definitely not royal nobles. One royal noble could destroy the entirety of the cleansing incense ancient sect. Imagine how strong an enlightened being was. The hidden strength of the 9 Saint Demon Gate was truly staggering when seen. No wonder they were the rulers of Old Ox Country. Despite all of this, Li Qiyi was not surprised one bit, and he sat down gracefully in the sky chamber. Since the ancient times, no one had ever connected with our heavenly guardians. The Demon King's voice appeared, but no one could see him. Li Qiyi shook his head and said, I don't like talking to people who hide their face behind a veil. The elders were not pleased with his words. Demon King Lun Rai was a monstrous man, and all of the elders here deeply respected and feared him. However, this Li Qiyi was not minding his words towards the king at all. It is not as if I don't want to see young Master Li, but right now I am still in the middle of closed cultivation. I can't personally meet you. Demon King Lun Rai patiently explained. Li Qiyi nodded his head and smiled. Fine, I won't make it hard for you. At the very least, I am a very reasonable man. Lun Rai politely inquired. I want to hear how you were able to connect with our heavenly guardians. All the elders were surprised as well, they never knew that their sect had heavenly guardians. At this moment Lun Rai started to explain. The Nine Saint Demon Gate has 4 heavenly guardians, which are the 4 statues in the battle stage. They were invited by the Patriarch to protect our sect. Not only that, they also guard the Heaven's Vein and Earth's Vein between the battle stage, which is the bloodline of our sect, but until today, they have never made a move. His voice became graver as he went on during his explanation. Once finished, all the elders' eyes were on Li Qiyi. They did not understand why the forever immobilized heavenly guardians helped Li Qiyi today. The 9 Saint Demon Gate elders, the more they stared at Li Qiyi, the more annoyed they became. Why was it that a person with a mortal physique, mortal life wheel and mortal fate palace like Li Qiyi was capable of communicating with their heavenly guardians? The gods were so unfair. If he was a disciple of the 9 Saint Demon Gate, then it would be borderline acceptable. However, he was from a different sect. Why would our heavenly guardians be protecting an outsider and harming our own sect? Demon King Lun Rai started to speak once again after the dramatic pause. After knowing the background, could you please tell us about your technique to control the heavenly guardians? Li Qi hesitantly smiled. Communication technique? I don't have any technique, these are your heavenly guardians, you should know more about them more than I do. Li Qi naturally could not tell them the secrets behind the event. As a dark crow during the Desolate Era, he paid in blood in order to formulate a successful plan to escape the Heaven Demon Grotto. After the million years, he finally understood this particular logic. If you want to control your own destiny, you must personally possess formidable power. Although as the Dark Crow he possessed considerable power, it was not his own power. Luckily, after entering places that no one else dared to venture, he had found out many mysterious and magical secrets. From then on, he already formulated a plan for his own personal cultivation if he ever returned to his body. The 4 heavenly guardians of the 9 Saint Demon Gate were one of his secret preparations in the past for self-preservation. That year, he obtained them from the land of the Old Bloods. They protected him for countless years in the past. Later on, the 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon always wanted the 4 statues. He followed and begged Li Qiyi for them non-stop. Since 9 Saint made many considerable contributions as Min Ren's fate protector, often at the risk of his own life, Li Qiyi let him borrow them for his later generations. After successfully guilting Li Qiyi out of them, 9 Saint Virtuous Paragon immediately positioned them to protect the heaven and earth veins of the 9 Saint Demon Gate, as well as allowing them to use the natural energy here to further strengthen themselves. However, the two had an agreement. Unless the 9 Saint Demon Gate met the disaster of a sect's demise, the statues would never take action. They were not slaves nor servants of the 9 Saint Demon Gate, and they will not be the fate protectors of any descendants from the sect. Since the 9 Saint Demon Gate also had a monster like the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect as its backing, it grew in power without much hindrance. Later on, during the decline of the Cleansing Incense Ancient Sect, the 9 Saint Demon Gate was an independent existence and thus it did not suffer together. Due to this, the 9 Saint Demon Gate had never faced a sect's demise level of disaster. The statues had never mobilized. The statues were personally taken by Li Qiyi from the land of the Old Bloods. Of course, he knew how to communicate with them. That was why when he took the time to get on the shoulder of one of them, he also conversed with the statues. If young Master Li is willing to part with the technique, the 9 Saint Demon Gate will definitely not mistreat you for the deal. Anything young Master Li wants, just say a word and we will do it to the utmost of our abilities. Demon King Lun Rai had not given up. He knew the real value of the heavenly guardians. The sect would become extremely powerful if the guardians could be controlled. All of the elders eagerly awaited for Li Qiyi's answer. If one statue was able to defeat the first elder, then what would be the combined power of all 4? You know, there really isn't a technique. I was simply gossiping with the statues, just stuff about home and life, that's all. Li Qiyi playfully answered with a coyish expression, acting like an innocent child. Of course, the Demon King and the elders did not believe Li Qiyi's answer, but they could not do anything about it. They especially could not force Li Qiyi into giving them the technique, otherwise they'll receive an unprecedented disaster. However, I do need to say one thing. I need to perform a blood rite with the 4 statues. Seeing the king's quiet contemplation, Li Qiyi coldly responded, changing from his previous demeanor. Both the king and the elders were shocked. This had a completely different meaning. To perform a blood rite with their heavenly guardians was comparable to a linking technique. Demon King Lun Rai frankly responded. The 4 statues are our heavenly guardians. Li Qiyi aloofly played with his sleeves while he answered. They can still be your heavenly guardians. The only thing is I might need to borrow them for certain things in the future for just a little bit. The 4 statues belong to our sect. Unless it is someone of the 9 Saint Demon Gate, no one else has the rights to use them. An elder couldn't help but exclaim, there was no such thing as letting someone borrow your heavenly guardians. It was too unreasonable. Li Qiyi glared at the elder and said, this is not up to you. If you have a problem with it, then go cry to your guardians. Due to the promise that year, Li Qiyi had to be patient when dealing with the Nine Saint Demon Gate, otherwise he would just have taken the statues and left. Demon King Lun Rai suddenly interjected to calm the elder and Li Qiyi down. Since young Master Li can communicate with the guardians, having them wake up and put into action isn't a bad thing. In reality, everyone here knew that the Nine Saint Demon Gate did not have a choice in this negotiation. Although the Nine Saint Demon Gate was powerful, it was still a bit lacking when compared to the four statues. Remember, when four parts are working together within a formation, the power increase was not simply additive but multiplicative instead. If it was only one statue, it would be a difficult but not undoable task to defeat it. However, with the four of them combined, especially situated on top of the heaven and earth's veins of the Nine Saint Demon Gate, the risk was too high. This is something a smart person would say. Li Qiyi smiled and said, "Don't think that I would immediately cause trouble for the Nine Saint Demon Gate after I perform the rite with your heavenly guardians. If I wanted to do that, then all of you would not have the opportunity to sit here. If I wanted to trample through the Nine Saint Demon Gate, unless your patriarch rises from his grave, no one could stop my footstep." The elders were not happy with Li Qiyi's attitude, but they couldn't say anything. The juxtaposition between the elders' raging faces versus Li Qiyi's nonchalantly attitude was quite amusing. If that is the case, then young Master Li can drop the blood. Lun Rai agreed with Li Qiyi. Although he doesn't know why a mortal like Li Qiyi could control the four statues, this was his only option. If your sect follows the rules, I will also do the same. The four statues will remain as your heavenly guardians. Li Qiyi responded. Young Master Li. Lun Rai started speaking again after a moment of contemplation. Our Nine Saint Demon Gate also has a sacred ground. No one has been able to open it, however. Would you be interested in giving it a look? Your Highness, this can't happen. Elder immediately tried to stop the king. It is fine for young Master Li to check it out. Lun Rai quickly stopped the words of this elder. His commanding voice did not allow for negotiation. Li Qiyi's eyes became bright and asked, "You are talking about the Saint Cavern that your patriarch, Nine Saint Virtuous Paragon, left behind." He suddenly remembered an event from the old times. That year, the old chicken head had once mentioned this cave to Li Qiyi, but this was after immortal Min Ren had received the heaven's will. Li Qiyi's disposition was unstable at the time as well, wanting to go into deep slumber. After hearing the wily old chicken head story, he didn't really listen carefully. That is correct. Li Qiyi's knowledge of this fact rattled Lun Rai's spirit. He quickly suggested, "If young Master Li can open the Saint Cavern, we will give you considerable thanks." 1. Li Qiyi attempted to remember what the old chicken head once told him in the past, and then he asserted, "I can try to open the Saint Cavern once. If I am successful, I want to take one thing from it. The rest can belong to your sect." This. After hearing Li Qiyi's words, Lun Rai required some time to think. An elder spoke up. "Your Highness, this requires more careful discussion." "There is no need for discussion," Demon King Lun Rai commandingly asserted. "Young Master Li can take any one thing from it, provided that you can open the Saint Cavern." "Lun Rai, you are a smart person. Find me when you are ready. I will be taking my leave." Li Qiyi turned around and left the sky chamber. He had to, once again, unwillingly carry him on his back. After Li Qiyi's departure, an elder couldn't help express, "Your Highness, this decision regarding the Saint Cavern felt a bit rushed." "Not necessarily." The voice of Lun Rai started again. "Since our inception, the Saint Cavern had always been isolated. No one had successfully opened the cave. This was a good opportunity for us, and it was in line with the Patriarch's will." "Your Highness, what about the heavenly guardians? How come we have never heard of them before? What are they, heavenly beast or eternal demon?" An elder curiously inquired. "I'm not quite sure myself," Demon King Lun Rai stated. "Our knowledge and writings regarding the heavenly guardians are quite lacking. Only the ancient scroll of the Patriarch mentions something about them. Unless we are at the brink of destruction, they will not activate by themselves. Only the sect masters are allowed to see this scroll." "But they activated their power today," another elder conveyed. "I do not understand it either, but if they have chosen him, they must have their own reasons for doing so." Lun Rai replied, "This kid, he is too scary." First elder opened his mouth. "According to you, he went through the chaotic heart forest twice, easily. This is truly unthinkable. Now the heavenly guardians have chosen him as well. This world really is not fair." This is indeed an alarming fact. From our start to finish, we have always focused on cultivating the younger talents. Junior Leng is our strongest in terms of strength, and the princess is the first in terms of raw aptitude, but the heavenly guardians did not choose them. Instead, they chose a mortal boy with a mortal physique, mortal life wheel, and mortal fate palace. Another elder lamented, "Of the numerous things in this world, we cannot understand all of them." In the end, although Lun Rai felt cheated as well, he could only be acquiesced. "Your Highness, if he can actually open the Saint Cavern, are we really giving him anything he wants?" One elder inquired. That's right, it was rumored that in the Saint Cavern there is a big chance of an immortal emperor's life treasure hiding in there. An unwilling elder exclaimed. If he can actually open it, then it is the heaven's will. 1. Lunrai responded. According to Elder Sword, none of us in this generation would be able to open the Saint Cavern. Li Chi-yi had done many unthinkable deeds while he is here, maybe he can open the cavern. After hearing the words Elder Sword, no one else dared to open their mouth, because no one within the sect has more power and influence than Elder Sword, including the sect master. Order that if any disciples were to reveal what happened today, they would be heavily punished. This is an iron law. In the end, the king declared. They do not want outsiders to know too much regarding the heavenly guardians. After Li Chiyi's return, they had been moved to a different guest location. It was a place meant for the visiting rulers of kingdoms and emperors of ancient kingdoms, the highest level of hospitality and respect. This treatment made Nan Hui Ren and Protector Mo afraid of receiving too much love. They understood it was because of Li Chiyi that they were able to receive such a warm reception. They had many questions to ask Li Chiyi, but they didn't know where to start. They were afraid of his ability and mystery. They kept staring at him like he was an ancient monster, one that was never seen before. One thing Nan Hui Ren did figure out was that the day when Li Chiyi went up the statue's shoulder, it was in preparation for today. Say whatever you want to say. Seeing the master and disciple combo being so uncomfortable and confused, Li Chiyi was very much amused, sitting in his chair. Protector Mo opened his mouth like he had something to say, but he didn't know where to start. He was a quiet person anyway, so he gave up and just sat down. Compared to Protector Mo, Nan Hui Ren was just waiting for the opportunity to ask. He gathered up his courage and stuttered. That thing, was it successful? What thing? It was Li Chiyi's turn to be confused. He had no idea what Nan Hui Ren was implying. You know, the thing about the marriage proposal, marrying Princess Li. Oh, you're talking about Li Shuangyan. Li Chiyi chuckled, shook his head and said. I did not inquire about this, I did not care about it. She is only a woman, can't reach the apex. Li Chiyi opened his big mouth, and again Nan Hui Ren was at a loss for words. Remember that Li Shuangyan was the prime descendant of the Nine Saint Demon Gate. Not only was she beautiful, she also carried an emperor physique, emperor life wheel, and most importantly, a fate palace of the saint level. Within the Grand Middle Territory, there were countless young geniuses that wanted to propose to Li Shuangyan. However, in the end, Nan Hui Ren realized that he should not question Li Chiyi's words. His eyes turned to the serpent punishing stick instead. This regular wooden stick had beaten a Heaven's Mandate expert into the ground. It left a deep impression ingrained in Nan Hui Ren's mind. Here, if you want to look at it, go ahead. Li Chiyi noticed the peculiar gaze and generously threw the stick to him. Nan Hui Ren caught it, held it carefully in his hands and carefully observed. Even Protector Mo couldn't contain himself anymore and joined in on the fun. The two analyzed it together. However, no matter what they did, the only result they could arrive at was that it was only a regular stick. This really is the wooden stick from the Grand Chamber, right? Nan Hui Ren queried. Correct. Li Chiyi nodded his head. Nan Hui Ren swallowed and daringly asked Li Chiyi. Senior, can I play around with it? Look at your silly self, do whatever you want to do. Li Chiyi bursted out laughing. Nan Hui Ren immediately lifted the stick to the sky and started swinging it around. However, it did not carry the same force and grace like it did in the hand of Li Chiyi. Senior, why is there such a difference between our stick plays? Nan Hui Ren did not understand how such a regular stick was so magical when it was used by Li Chiyi. Li Chiyi glanced at him and sincerely answered. Truly believe and it will happen. He stopped there. He couldn't easily explain the mystical truths behind the serpent punishing techniques to other people.